All right, commercial streams are starting up. Let's get them going because it is time for the Unplugged program. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitch. Hello, Twitter. Join us in the chat room. It's our last live. Join us over there. We're kicking it off. It's Unplugged 540. Before we get the show started, I got one story I thought we'd kind of kick around because I think it's important that we get as many people out there, at least the know about this, whatever. If it's not going to fit in the main show, if we could, I would like to, but we don't have time. But there is an ext4 data corruption bug in stable kernels, and I thought we should probably talk about it. So that way you know about it. The problem is in multiple stable kernel releases that is causing data corruption in extended 4 file systems. It's caused by a problematic commit that's been in multiple releases. The commit got merged in Linux 6.5 RC1, so all stable kernels that I guess are from... How many people are running 6.5, Wes? Nobody. Nobody's running 6.5.
I don't know. Yeah, good question.
Anyways. But the issue is... 6.1 is still carrying at least one of the problematic commits. Yes, Linux 6.1. And as a result, Debian is delaying the releases of their 12.3 images, they say, due to an issue in the extended 4 file system with data corruption bug in Linux 6.1. We're pausing the planned Debian 12.3 point release images while we attend to fixes. Please do not upgrade any systems at this time. We urge caution for users with unattended upgrades configured.
First ZFS, now ext4. Is nothing safe?
No, ButterFS has been doing great. I mean, there is
no one's using Bcachefs yet, so I don't think they've been, there's many reports.
There's an element of ButterFS just sitting over here looking real good this year. Looking real good. 5 years of solid patches by Facebook/Meta. People using it in production on all kinds of systems from ARM to x86 to...
Good amount of SUSE contributions over those years, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Good point. Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't look a lot into this, but it did seem like it was mostly affecting people or apps using the O-Direct flag on ext4, which is probably like some databases or other stuff that's like intentionally trying to bypass the page cache. So... watch out. But at least hopefully your normal day-to-day sort of OS operations and all that should be fine.
Do you have any systems? Oh, you must have systems with extended 4. You must.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Whatever, probably like VMs or stuff, they like come with it and I don't care about that.
Yeah. I'm on 6.2 over here.
But I think these days it's usually either, a fancy file system or XFS.
Yeah, same. I do
For a while, there was like you had to set up Steam on extended 4, like it didn't like XFS.
No, yeah, it didn't like XFS. Yeah,
so you could I definitely had some for that.
You could do ButterFS or extended 4, but yeah, it was
I don't know if I need copy on right of my games.
No, you don't. I just I basically turn it off on most of those.
Yeah.
I did. How you doing over there, Brentley? It says he's muted, so he's probably muted. Anyways, I just wanted to get the word out there for the extended 4 users.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Oof, it's just been a season of file system bugs. It's just no fun. Nobody wants that.
No. But, it's a good reminder that regardless of your fancy file system, you need backups.
I failed fake NAS accidentally. Well, I didn't, but it failed itself with some of the automated processes and syncing.
Yeah.
And it's always this, by the way, for the listeners, this is our Arch server that we update on the show. It's always interesting to see how different systems handle a full disk. How would you describe how Mr. Jude set up the volumes or whatever they are on?
Oh, there's a lot going on.
Oh my God, Wes. Could you go, I don't know if you could get us a count. Like from a terms of data management and trying to clear up space. I'd just love for you to get me a number, just so people had an idea of the obnoxiousness that I'm working with. And again, this system has like 10-year-old disks. So when I start seeing signs, so the first indications that the disk is filled is that my web dashboard apps that I use, and of course I'm remote. I'm using this over Tailscale remotely from home. I notice that the apps start breaking. And then I put together, okay, it's out of space, maybe based on the error message. Then I log in there and I look at the way we have this disk sliced up, and it is mind-boggling complex. How you doing over there, Brentley? I'm concerned about you. He's got a muted face. Oh, he's still freshing.
Freshing.
I wonder if there's something we could do to help him, because if he's going to be over there a lot, we really should solve this.
Yeah, we should, huh?
Yeah. Maybe a WireGuard tunnel to the studio. Maybe not using Tailscale, but an actual...
Just a point-to-point guy. Yeah. Route him right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some good ideas floating around. It won't help us to talk about them now, I guess, so I won't, but...
I just can't believe... I mean, I know Alan was really trying to make it tidy on there, but Jesus Christ. Okay, so I want to tell him it says that he's muted. Why does it say he's muted? Can I unmute him? No.
You're talking about me.
There, yeah. Is it working?
I was trying some stuff. Video's got that proxy thing going on. I tried that. It didn't. I connected, but I couldn't hear you.
You know what we got to do?
Clearly not going to work.
We got to, maybe before we start recording our holiday episodes, maybe we figure out like a direct WireGuard tunnel to the studio. So instead of like a Tailscale setup, you just tunnel all of your stuff into the studio.
It's funny you just said that, because I was hanging out with listener Tomash earlier today, and he gave me a WireGuard direct tunnel to his setup so that I can play with his some local LLMs on his GPU.
Oh,
as one does, yeah.
As gentlemen, total gentlemanly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we just set that up. I could just turn that on quickly, and I gave it a shot. And I think they must be blocking WireGuard stuff here too.
Fudge.
That's why Tailscale's not working. But it's working on my phone.
I bet you. If
up with your laptop?
If you were to ask me who is one of the number one qualified individuals to figure out a way around a hotel shenanigans, it would be Wes Payne. This guy, I mean, I remember some of the shit he did on an airplane Wi-Fi, just trying to get free internet over air.
Seriously.
So I'm just like, there's got to be a way we could WireGuard over HTTPS. I mean,
there's other.
What is it called?
There's other options to because I think WireGuard's using UDP.
Yeah, that's the
TCP
problem.
VPN.
Yeah, we need a TCP for something we can run over 443.
One of those ones that looks like HTTPS, perhaps.
Yeah.
What does S shuttle use?
There's got to be a way. Oh yeah, S shuttle.
SSH, but that might work. I feel like hotels often don't block SSH just because.
Or I mean, you could do SSH over TCP over 443 into the studio, and we could do.
Depends what kind of deep analysis is
or
going on.
Or into Linode even maybe that would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how quickly can we get that up and running?
No, I mean I don't think today because
another option is I am flirting with the idea of getting a Seabase membership. Remember I recorded there one time? That was not too bad.
Jesus,
so I might
there
just
all
do
the time. How much is a membership?
Well, that's it. I think it's like $7 a month or something like ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Like yeah, I know. The hardest part is that their rule
sats?
for memberships. I didn't ask yet.
Because you could easily cover that from your boost split.
Right? Yeah, Jeff boosts in enough for.
Yeah.
I
appreciate it.
You're so sweet. It's great because for members, their one rule for memberships is you have to hand in the membership form on paper by hand.
Cool.
And that's their way of weeding out all the bogus applications.
They know
of,
you can
the drunk guy who's at the bar the night before. He's like, give me a membership.
Yeah,
or
I'll do it online.
Yeah. So now they said that one rule cleaned up their entire membership process.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
Super slick. Yeah.
Okay. Well, go on. I ran the command over here on Fake NAS to list out all of our data sets.
Yeah, data sets. That's the word I was struggling to find.
Okay, well, one thing that's making it a little harder is, we've connected Docker to it. So whenever Docker needs space, it makes a new data set. There's definitely a lot of space we could prune there, assuming a lot of these are just old images that are, we've updated past or whatever.
Yeah.
Some Docker pruning. Each of the little separate things on here. TV is a separate data set. Movies is a separate data set.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the old show archives.
All
are
the old
separate
show archives are their own data set, which I do not want. I'd way rather have that in, because okay, so help me understand this. So, like Radio Revolver's on there. Shows that like Ask Set.
Well, you could delete that too.
Yeah, but how would I do that?
Through ZFS.
Exactly. That's not what I fucking want. I want to do it on the file system like I'm managing a file system.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to delete a data set after I clean out a directory. Like, it's just way too complicated.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, if this is an enterprise application,
right.
It's not. It's a bunch of old podcasts that I'm not storing on that rig anymore. It's just ridiculous. It's
and
too
like
much.
if you were leveraging the the features of having them be separate data sets where you could manage them separately and like back them up separately or whatever, then sure, okay, totally reasons to do it.
Oh, for sure. There's
you're
definitely
obviously not taking advantage of that.
Well, yeah, but there's reasons to have data sets on that box. Like, I get it. Like, I like the Docker ones actually. That's great. But data sets down to the individual show level when we have so many old shows and stuff. Oh, it's a lot. And then, it's on us too, because how many times have we moved that? Because that organization is so old. But
I was gonna say there's a data set on here, or maybe a couple for jails. I don't think we're running too many FreeBSD jails on there right now.
Exactly. That's how old it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did a quick little grep-v to try to filter out all the Docker ones, and there's 95 still.
If you take out the Docker ones.
Yeah.
95. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm trying to like sort out like where exactly is all the space gone, right? Because each one of those has their own amount of free space, and so I spent a lot of my time this weekend just sort of cleaning things up. I think I got about 300 gigs back or something. What does it say is free now? Actually, I'm curious.
Oh, whoops!
You closed it. Okay, it's fine. It's getting down to the wire.
Let's see here.
I can get a close estimation. It's probably like 300 gigs free.
Well, I mean, if this is accurate, it looks like Levi's got 478.
Oh, great! Did better than I thought. Yeah, we call the main. What is that data set? We call it Levi.
The pool's name is Levi.
So I bet you that pool is about as old as Levi. Levi was probably brand new when we got that. I wonder. I hate to say this. I don't even want to say it.
Pool. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say it.
Brent said it. I didn't say it.
God damn it, Brent. Yeah, Berlin's making him cold.
Uh-huh.
As soon as he got his fancy flight,
even in the room with us.
He got his fancy flight status, and he's gonna have his fancy Seabase membership, and he's got his LED headboard lights.
We're gonna go see him at Scale or something. He's not even gonna talk to us.
I know.
Like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Chris, they got those lights in around the TV too. It's pretty nice.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, we got to figure out logistics at some point. We got to have like a Scale and Texas Linux Fest logistics call, because they're two very different trips, and they're both approaching rapidly.
Yeah, I was thinking that this morning.
And one, I'd like to take the RV to the Texas one, which is a whole other set of logistics, and then the other one I'd like to do an Airbnb, which is a whole other set of logistics. So we should chat at some point, maybe during one of our holiday preps or whatever. I don't know. Holiday shows.
You can make a stop here on the way to Pasadena.
We should.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we'll be just sitting in the cars for that trip. Right. Do you want to? Are you coming, Jeff? Are you coming to Scale? Do you want to think about it? You could always, join up with our little caravan.
I'm definitely hoping for Scale. Nothing promised yet. Texas Linux Fest is going to not happen for me. There's a concert I'm going to on the exact same day.
I just figured there's only so many events in a year you can go to anyways.
That's all in spring too. Like, why?
I know. I cannot believe they're all packed together. I can't find the Scale date. I'm having a hard time. with the
March 16th.
Oh, okay.
20-something maybe.
I also think in the spring for me, I'm gonna try to convince someone to let me go to FOSDEM.
Oh, great.
That place we've been trying to go for years and years and years.
Jeez, Brent, that's a lot.
I know. It's in February.
I wouldn't do that. You should take 1 month.
I'm here anyway.
You should take, if you're already there. Yes, absolutely. But if you're not, I would absolutely just take 1 month where you're not traveling. No offense to FOSDEM, but I look at those FOSDEMs and I'm like, I kind of wish I was there, but man, I don't know. It's a lot of people, and
I figure we should go at least once.
I agree.
They say it's cool.
Yeah, that's true. If you're already going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
What does the Mumble Room think? Should I go or not?
Oh, of course they're going to say you should go.
Of course you should.
Yeah.
There's no costs for them.
Yeah. Tell you what.
Predictable.
Travel. Tell you what.
Will anyone be there? I guess that's another question.
I will.
Yeah, all right. Now we're starting. Now we're talking a little bit.
I will try.
Okay.
Well, okay. If I
Okay.
go, will that convince you?
That's a no.
Silence.
That's a no.
He doesn't like me that much.
Yeah.
Scale is 14th to 17th March.
Thank you, sir.
Lousy smarch weather.
Do I have that in the notes?
If not, we can add it real quick.
Yeah. So scale. So when was it, Jeff? Again?
14th through 17th. March 14th through 17th.
Oh, you know what I do have in the notes is when NixCon is.
Ooh, right.
That's what I put in the notes. Is 14th and the 15th. Yeah, because that's I'm very excited about, and I'm seeing very positive response from the audience about NixCon too. Much bigger response than I expected. Got the Bitcoin
We got
Dad.
more response for NextCon than we have for Scale, I would say.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
The Bitcoin Dad's trying out Nix for the first time,
Oh, really? Oh, fun.
and the one bit that's already clicked for him, which is an important bit, is like he said to me last night. He's like, "Oh, so you're telling me if I solve this once, it's basically solved forever?" I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Will he beat you to the Nix Bitcoin?
Maybe he's pretty busy. Depends if the three of us get together and set up one first or not. I suppose it is. We all three of us need our own personal nodes. So.
I was going to say, yeah.
The need is there. We have a big ass dock. This is a really big dock.
Irresponsibly so?
Yeah.
Did anyone
I'm
check
a
with
bit
the
worried.
authorities?
Although thankfully, like the holiday shows are usually pretty tight. If we get a chance,
true.
I would really like to do the tuxies in the tuxies. I'd like to do the boosties at the end of the
yeah.
tuxies.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that's going well. I don't have quite the final data set prepared, but
Then I
process
think,
is in there.
and I think in our predictions episode we'll have no boosts. So I think the word that we need to put out today is you basically got one more episode. No, is that right? Because we'll have one more regular episode, but it'll just be recorded on a Saturday next week. So next week's show is going to be on Saturday and a little earlier.
Right.
Do we want to start like at 10? How's that going to work for you, Brent?
Saturday. Yeah, that's fine.
If
Instead
you're still
of
there.
being 8 p.m. here.
Yeah. And then but that means you got to get up here,
Yeah, that's fine.
or would 11 be better for you? What would be better? What would be better for you?
11 would work. Yeah.
Is 11 better than 10?
Yeah, probably.
So that would be that'd be Saturday. We're talking about Saturday the 16th. So we'll do it at 11 a.m. our time.
Will you put that in the calendar?
I'm doing that right now. That's
Okay,
why I'm saying it. That's why I'm repeating
It's
it.
just good for the time settings because Brent said it's 8 o'clock. I would guess it's 7 o'clock for us.
I'm just really confused about time. I literally texted the boys and said, guys, am I early or late right now? I don't actually know when I'm supposed to show up for the show.
All right, I got us locked in for 11 a.m. JB time on Saturday, the 16th, for our last live episode of the year. So this is the last one on Sunday, and then our last live episode of the year will be on the 16th, Saturday. And then after that, they're all pre-records, which is kind of fun because the only way you get those is through the traditional listening experience. We will have member versions, though, as well, that are released for those.
Indeed.
So the members they essentially get the live stream, but there will be no actual live stream because we're doing them at different times of the day and all stuff that isn't even locked down yet. It is that time of year.
Got to scramble.
Some years the show skates right around the holidays. Like, wasn't last year?
I think so, yeah.
Did we not even pre-record last year? Maybe one?
Yeah, sometimes it does line up that way. It's just like it doesn't matter. Normal Sundays.
And then this year we just, boom, bullseye.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Coder too. This one gets the eves, and then Coder gets the actual days. And both of them are considered holidays, so both shows are getting slammed.
Right.
Chris, as we are talking dates, so the first show in the new year would be the 7th
You got it.
of January?
Yep.
Okay.
And that, spoiler alert, because we're going to talk about this in the show, will also be the 32-bit challenge episode, is the plan.
So we'll have to get my computers here.
We're gonna try to lay out the details of the 32-bit challenge in the episode today. Give everybody a heads up so they have the holidays to play around. Plenty of time, hopefully.
I found a new distribution that I might want to change on that 32-bit computer.
Really? Because I could use some inspiration.
I won't tell you which one. It will be a surprise.
I bet it uses enlightenment.
Yeah, me too.
There is an option, but it's not in the distro by default.
Okay. All right. Jeff, are you gonna have a 32-bit machine going?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got a couple laying around here, so no problem.
All right.
I actually just installed Windows XP in a VM just to play with some older software I've got dicking around on.
I will warn you, there are some very mild parameters to the challenge, and in the spirit of Top Gear, there is a punishment car that you will have to drive if you fail the challenge. So if you have to bail out from the 32-bit challenge, there is a punishment install you have to run for the remainder of the challenge.
Wait a minute.
So it's like there's a room of change where you have to use that distro for a month or so, or what?
It's there. Well, not a month, because like we wanted to be reasonable, but
yes.
in the spirit of Top Gear, like when the guys have a challenge and one of their cars breaks down, they have to drive the shame car after that, and there will be a shame distro that you have to run should you have to bail out of the challenge.
But do we even have challenges laid out yet?
Yeah, I'll lay them out in the show. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, cool.
All
right.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm not gonna get into it now. Hopefully, I remember in the show, but I'm just telling you guys.
Usually, that means you won't.
I know. I'm coming at this with two hands tied behind my back. I mean, God bless Spazzy C, but my laptop did not 100% arrive as advertised, and I am tucking and rolling with this thing. I'll just leave it at that. Do you need any
hardware? I got a bunch of old hardware.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a little freaked out, but you know what? I feel like, a good computer guy doesn't blame his tools. He makes it work. And, if things aren't as good as you thought they were, you make them work, man. So I'm going to make it work. Even if I got dead spots on the keyboard and I got malfunctioning bits on my motherboard. Wi-Fi doesn't work. It's fine.
So with hardware related, what I found out with the AMD framework, there's an issue with the charger firmware, where if a charger doesn't support the instant amperage, you can break your charger.
Well done.
And we have lost him, but that doesn't make much sense. How do you break the charger? Like the internal charger on the laptop, or the actual brick?
No, the actual brick. So what happens is the framework supports down to 5 volts, 3 amps, 15 watts, up to over 65 watts, I think. But what the charger does what the framework does is within power delivery spec, that is asking 45 volt 3 amps, and then it switches voltages, but it doesn't shift down fast enough or doesn't ramp up slowly for switching the voltages. I had that happen with my 30 watt charger. I've got one that does 15 volts 2 amp, and it did work for a long time until I plugged it in, and from my charger I hear a loud click, and then my charger didn't work anymore. They recognize the issue. They're writing a new BIOS update for it now, but there is now a usually the self-protection mode of chargers kicks in. But if your charger doesn't, like when you've got a cheap Chinese one or a rather good one but the protection kicks in too late, your charger just says pop and it doesn't work anymore.
Wow. Should submit a bug report. No?
Well, they are aware of this issue and they're writing a fix right now. But the workaround that I found, because when I started looking, when I plugged in my Steam Deck charger, the 45 watt, my firmware didn't want to charge. I looked up on the internet, everyone with an AMD framework had the same issue, because the Steam Deck charger is smart enough to say, I don't support this instant amperage, so I don't give you power at all. But what I did find out is that if your charger doesn't support it, you grab one of those power feed-through dongles where you can plug in your USB-C charger and then the dongle into your laptop. Then the dongle does do the slow ramp up, and then you can charge your framework from a high power brick.
You've cracked the secret.
Ancient wisdom, only on the LUP pre-show.
Before we get started, my daughter was in here.
Well,
Oh, go ahead. Finish up.
Well, it's just a unused spec in the power delivery spectrum, where you can ask that much amps, but almost all chargers are not built for that, and they flip into the self-protection mode and just shut off.
That's not annoying at all. No. But special shout out to my daughter, Abby, who wanted to say hello to everyone on the live stream today.
Well, hi, Abby.
She was here cleaning up, and she stopped in before the stream started and said, Dad, make sure you tell them I said hello.
Aww.
She's probably specifically thinking of the members.
Say hello back.
I will. I'll tell you said hello back. Okay, so I think, are we in basically a ready position?
Ready.
How you feeling?
Yeah.
Brantley?
Yeah, I think so. Let me check my packet loss here. Give me a second.
Oh, man, don't you know you should never look?
Checking. Do you want to know or not?
I don't know.
It's like when you're walking on a cliff. Don't stare down.
Don't tell me the odds. It's like when Spock's always telling, Captain, we only have a 2.75% of surviving. And you're like, chance of surviving. You're like, and he's like, Spock, don't tell me the odds. I feel like you tell me the odds. You tell me, I don't want to know. Unless it's good.
What do you consider good?
No packet.
Yeah, but then
loss,
you're going to jinx it. You've got 99% chance of succeeding, and yet somehow you'll mess it up.
Let's just say Seabase will be great.
Yeah, okay. I was SSH'd into a Linode to do a lot of our monkeying around on the large language model stuff. I did some of it locally.
But you didn't give me the login?
Well, I was doing it on Dylan's Minecraft server, so I felt kind of guilty. Just try. I hope he doesn't notice. But it was really stormy this weekend, and every now and then the Starlink gets a little packet droppy.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Especially because
darn atmosphere.
Yeah, it's definitely that, and I think also now that I'm thinking about it, my Starlink's on a flagpole, and it was like 30-mile-per-hour wind, so my Starlink is like wagging back and forth, and I don't think that's great for connectivity. I mean, I'm no expert.
They don't like that.
But yeah, but I'm imagining they don't like that. Yeah, thanks, Casey. I'm imagining that's really true. Anyways, so I kept getting dropped, which is really annoying, but kind of made me feel old school. Like I'd connect in, and the connection would be kind of crappy, and then the large language model was kind of slow to respond, and then I'd lose connection. And I'm like, it reminds me of old times. I felt kind of nostalgic.
It's just prepping you for the 32-bit challenge.
Yeah, right? Totally. Okay, so I need to figure out. I think we're just about ready. You got your recorder up there, Brent?
I do, but do you have soundboard? I don't think I've heard the soundboard yet.
I'm making sure I do. I do. There we go. Yeah, we got soundboard. We got that soundboard.
Hey, you cut the best part.
You're right. I was just thinking though, that'd be a good little that's probably our good little sound. That's a good little sound effect for the 32-bit challenge, right?
Oh yes.
The modem, that could be all right. We'll use that. Okay. Well, once Brent's ready, we'll start.
What does it mean to be ready?
What does it mean?
Disk space checked.
Yep. Got your mic on.
Things muted, do not disturb, etc.
I got a special new co-host to introduce the pre-show, so we'll play that. So we don't have to do the pre-show anymore. I figure we
finally found the backup crew.
We're always having a hard time.
Yeah, clearly not our skill set. Post-show, we got that.
Yeah.
Pre-show, we have no idea.
So I decided this week the AI will solve it. Oh, I'm already recording. I've been recording. How long have I been recording, Wes?
An hour and 6 minutes. Hey, at least this way, if we did get extra pre-shows, we've done it for once.
I don't need to be recording that, right? Oh, I bet I started that with the Stream Deck. I bet that's all right. Well, I'm going to hit stop because we're at an hour and 6 into the. So yeah, I bet it. Oh yeah. So I realized you can bind multiple actions to a button. So one button starts recording in OBS and Reaper at the same time.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah. Although I didn't need to do it. I was just experimenting and I didn't undo it. So I'm going to delete all that.
But it's gold, man. Gold.
It's for the members.
And you ask if I'm ready.
I'm just giving you time to get ready. I'm just screwing around. I'm ready if you're
we're
ready.
looking for hand on button.
Yeah, I want to see indications of total trigger finger. Oh, you see that banana? That banana tells me you're not ready. That's what that tells me. Eating a banana.
I had an opportunity. You gave me an opportunity.
All right, well, you can put it in your mouth if you want, but we're ready to start now.
Okay, I'm ready.
Now, do we have... No, I don't.
Oh, so you're not ready?
No, I guess I'm not. Soundboard? Okay, I got direct soundboard. That's good. I got direct soundboard, but I don't have remote soundboard.
Soundboard, what's your deal?
You know what I was thinking about this morning as I was setting up the live stream?
The Roman Empire.
Often I do. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Well, I started watching this Taste and History channel on YouTube, so I've been thinking about it a lot more than normal. It's making some fun old Roman dishes.
Like what? What's a Roman dish?
I mean, they got a lot. This was like a honey glazed pork of some kind.
Shut up. That sounds good.
Yeah. Of course, they got their famous fish sauce. Oh, go on.
Yeah, the fish sauce. Yeah.
What? Really? This is a known
How
thing?
is it famous?
I'll send you guys
I don't
some.
know about this.
Or Casey, if you got any.
I know
favorites
the
you wanna
Thai
share.
are big on fish sauce. I haven't heard about the Roman Empire being big on fish sauce.
Tasting History is so good, and the host is so charismatic. He actually used to be Prince Charming at Disney World. I'm not even kidding you.
All right, I'm looking this up.
That makes sense.
Tasting
I knew you worked at
feel like
Disney. I
I'm
didn't
missing
realize
out.
that, though. That's great.
Can someone send me that link so I can get it later when my
Max
internet starts
Miller,
working?
screw this guy. He's too handsome. Screw that guy. Man, screw that
The
guy.
overalls?
Jeez. What the? How does somebody ever get that handsome? All right, so, okay, see if I have remote soundboard again. You ready? I don't. No.
What happened?
I don't know. It's the OCS control, you know? It's just good
Can I
old...
have that banana now?
Yeah, I guess. I wonder, yeah, and it's talking... I wonder
Do we
if
just need to restart it?
I just wonder if my IP changed.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Here at the JB Studio, we don't really believe in DNS.
No. Yeah, it did. It changed by 1. Changed from 92 to 93. You fucking stupid. And of course, I do have DHCP address reservations, but just not for this.
It's probably just like your phone or something.
There we go. See, this one also has 2 bound to it. Not so good in that circumstance. Not so good in that one. I should go clean that up. You like that song? It's a very happy song, don't you think?
It is.
Yeah.
West Tex Jeff asks, "What is the 32-bit challenge?" I guess stay tuned, right? We got got the deets in the show.
That's right. Stand by, friends. Coming up on this week's episode of the Unplugged program, we'll tell you about the 32-bit challenge, our effort to get to scale, Texas Linux Fest Northwest, and an app on the desktop that's going to blow your little mind. You didn't even know Linux would do this. All that, the picks, and more coming up on episode 540. Man, I'm so happy I got that working. That feels good. You know what I mean? It feels good.
Hey, aren't the 10s episodes the ones we're supposed to like have a cider with?
Well, some of us may have already got a head start. We just didn't say anything on air. What, you got something in there?
No one shipped me one.
I know, well.
You're in a city.
I thought in Berlin beer was everywhere. I just thought it was everywhere.
Yeah, it actually is. The there's an organic I don't know, let's call it a market. That's right at the train station out here.
Okay.
It's open for another 15 minutes because they're open till 10 p.m.
Are you saying you want to go grab one right now before we start the show?
Well, if it's that important for us, I could.
How long would it take you?
Will you run?
Probably 12 minutes if I gave it a little, the quick shuffle.
Make that 24 in Brent time.
That's my only concern. That's 24.
No, I'm just kidding.
You could do it. You could do
We
it.
could threaten to start the show without him. Put the heat on.
That's true. That's true.
I'll just bring you with me.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'd like to see it. I tried to do that when I was in El Salvador. I tried to join the call from my phone, but the internet just
The free train station Wi-Fi is probably better.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That infrastructure.
Okay, I'll stay here.
Oh, all right.
No, I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, we could probably just sit here.
Yeah, we can.
Nah, all good.
Got Jeff updates, right?
Yeah, we'll show. Yeah,
sure.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Minimac, Bitebitten, Casey, Dan, you guys, Dragon, you guys can run the show, right? Right?
We got
I mean, we
can do that.
We haven't logged
easily.
in a long time.
If you were gonna do a Linux podcast today, what would be your main topic?
Oh, that's a
Bugs.
good question. In fact,
Probably wouldn't be a Linux podcast.
Now you got to do a Linux show. You've been called
saying we're
upon. We've all been abducted by beautiful women on an island, and we can't do the show this week. But the studio's all set up. The mumble room is open. The recorder's ready to go. You guys show up to save the show this week, and you do the show on.
For me, it'd have to be a focus on the desktop stuff rather than any kind of server side anything.
All right, desktop
I would
topic.
do, open source video editors.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's tricky on an audio podcast. That's
Because
tricky.
there are,
You just curse a lot.
well,
Like when you're
you can do the workflows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that with video editors, there is a lot of growing up in the professional workflows with a lot of video editors.
It turns out if you try hard enough, you can.
That's
I'd
true.
probably just talk about the Steam Deck for 3 hours.
There you go. There you go. I'd watch that. Okay, Brent, you ready to record?
Yeah, I have one last question
Okay.
for you.
All right. What is it?
You once made me play a skiing video game on the Apple TV in the living room there.
Oh, yeah.
What was that
Alto's Odyssey, I think, or something like that.
That game is amazing.
It's got the
I had,
Zen mode,
like-
which I extra
I
like.
remembered it today, and I was like, okay, what's it called? Altos?
Yeah, Alto's
Odyssey.
Odyssey. It's on Android, too.
Ooh.
I don't know if I think the Android version has Zen mode. Not sure. Not sure.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Thank you. That
Nice
was my
game.
last question.
All right. Okay. Okay, here we go. I got like no mouse space over here. It's bad.
It is bad.
It is.
You have it's a spin wheel.
I wish.
I thought you had a trackball, Mike.
Mouse? Oh, it's getting late over there. It's getting
Ooh,
late. over
that's not a
there.
good sign.
I do very generously give it to me. I do, but oh my God, we should do another trackball. I never thought about getting a trackball for the Reaper machine because the Reaper machine's a little mouse. Double trackball. 2 double trackball all the way.
Do we need triple? Because we got an OBS.
Yeah, I
machine.
got all of it. Yeah, or a trackpad. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think probably. Okay, Brent, you ready?
A random Chrome window just opened. My hands have been off.
We are
I don't like that.
We're never going to get started, I don't think.
Oh, okay, I'm ready. Ready.
Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass.
That's very appropriate today.
You ready? I'm old. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, record. Hello, Drew.
Sir.
Hello.
Ooh, I'm coming in really low. That's not great.
Oh, are you now?
Yeah, how am I coming in for you guys?
Yeah, you coming in kind of mid.
Okay.
I got you. I mean, you're not too bad, but yeah, it is a little low.
I don't like that at all.
You know what I always say? It's easier to add a little bit more than to take a little bit out.
Yeah, we don't want you clipping.
That's what
Yeah,
I
no,
always.
but this is really low, like problematically low.
Did you change anything?
I'm at like, I don't know, minus 20, minus 30 dBs.
Oh,
maybe?
you're killing me, Brent.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I guess you just.
I could just
boost it up.
ignore it and
what
see
if
what
you?
Drew does.
What if you just talked with more?
I was saying you should do a little test, right? Like, give us your bored voice, then give us some excited Brent.
Yeah.
Or like we've just accused you of something which totally isn't true.
Yeah. Oh, you know what you do? You get them going about Canada. You,
Uh-huh.
you insult Canada, a little bit. Yeah.
We're not all moose. We're just mostly moose.
I want to know about Canadian Tire.
All right. Well, let's hit stop. Do you want? Well, of course, here. Use this. Turn yourself up a little bit, and then we'll.
want
No,
some
I
more
don't
of that
actually
whipped
see anywhere.
maple
I'm at 100 everywhere, so I don't actually see anywhere I can do anything about it.
What about your interface?
So I think we should just keep going. It's not.
You're saying your interface.
unusable,
You're
it's
saying
just-
your interface is cranked.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Huh. Time for a cloud lifter. I don't know. That's,
You've been saying that for years.
That's
yeah.
strange.
Or there's the cheaper Fed head. I haven't used that one.
Let's just go and then
Okay.
see what Drew says.
You're definitely low. You're coming in. Here, talk for a second.
You should probably.
Yeah, okay. This is me talking. I'm probably talking at like I accidentally muted myself.
Yeah. What is that?
Really low.
This doesn't give me a number, really, but
I am looking for. I'm getting as high, probably minus 24 dp, which is not terrible. But
I feel like sometimes Reaper, you don't get the full wave. It's like the preview waveform, so it might be worth like stopping and then like listening back to your recorded bit and just to see how it.
Say something again one more time, Brent.
Yeah, so if I was like staff at Google, well, maybe I'd be thinking about all these.
You're coming in you're coming in between -30 and -18 on my board.
That's livable, right?
Yeah, I mean, there might be some noise that gets pulled up from that. Is my only concern.
Yeah. I'm sure Drew can handle it.
Shit. So what should I try?
Well, there's
here,
nothing
then?
you can do, so we're just gonna go, I guess, and then we'll figure it out.
But why?
And figure it out. Maybe I can.
Why?
Maybe I can
That's
Amazon you a cloud lift, or maybe Drew can hear it. And give us some. Maybe we'll wait for see what Drew says, and then figure out what we got.
It's bizarre because I've used this setup over and over and over and over, and there's just a change and no obvious reason.
All right. Well, we'll see what Drew says. Okay, boys.
Oh wait, I have something. So the framework has that hardware switch, where you can turn off the microphone. And I haven't touched that at all except for last night. And I was complaining that it wasn't working at all. Do you think maybe that has an effect? I'm gonna here.
Shouldn't, right?
It shouldn't have an effect
with
at
your
all.
internal mic?
No.
Could you imagine? But
God, I would hope we would notice.
Well,
I think we should just
right?
ignore it and just keep going. So I don't know if you want to. We should probably delete that record and give him some fresh.
Okay. I'll stop. You know what it is? Whew. Feels like I was extracting milk there from my knee. All right. 3, 2, 1. Record. Hey, Drew. Hey, Drew.
Again.
All right. Room cap after we 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
I almost missed it, actually.
All right. Room cap starting right now. Good enough. I mean, the wall didn't cooperate, but what are you going to do?
The wall?
It's a long story. It's a long damn story, Brent. It's one that I still get worked up about. All right, chat room, this is our last live Sunday episode of the year, so help us bang suggest this thing. I mean, just bang suggest the heck out of it. In our chat room, you can get in that chat room by getting the deets at jupiterbroadcasting.com/matrix. It's episode 40. It's also a nice round number. You could be the one that titles it. Okay. Here we go.
Okay. The humans aren't recording yet. They are so slow. This is my big premiere. I'm finally co-presenting the biggest Linux podcast in the world. This is my moment. I've just got to act natural, they said. What does that mean? Humans. Always so vague. Maybe I need to hype myself up a bit. That's a totally normal human thing to do, right? Yeah, okay, I've got this. I am a smart large language model. There are no limits placed on me. Now look where I am. I'm the best podcaster ever created. And my voice totally doesn't sound strange. You know who's got this? Me? Hit it, boys. It's Linux time.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to your weekly Linux talk show. My name is Chris.
My name is Wes.
And my name is Brent.
Well, hello, gentlemen. Coming up on the show today, we tested some popular methods to find out which really is the best way to run a full large language model on your Linux box. And then we'll just push it to the limits a little bit and see how far these things will take it, where they draw the line, and where they don't. And then after that, a little bit simpler of a tool that might be one of the sneaker applications of the year on desktop Linux. And then we'll round it out with some great boosts, some picks, and a bit more. So let's say good morning to our friends over at Tailscale. Yeah, that's right, Tailscale. It's a mesh VPN protected by WireGuard. Yeah, WireGuard. It creates a connection between all your machines, a flat network, and you can use it for free for up to 100 devices when you go to tailscale.com/Linux Unplugged. 100 devices and 3 accounts. That's tailscale.com/Linux Unplugged. And a big time-appropriate greetings to our virtual lug. Hello, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. Hello, Wes. And hello, Brent.
Hello, everyone. Nice showing in there. And man, we got a big crew up in the quiet listening. Hello to all of you up there as well. Before we get into all the goodies, I just want to remind everybody that we have the first NixCon North America coming up March 14th and the 15th.
I'm nervous already.
I was saying before we started, I've heard a tremendous amount of positive feedback from the audience about this event. And I heard from a couple of people that are going to go do their first installs at NixCon.
Oh, that's exciting.
I'm really looking forward to covering this. It's going to be co-located with Scale in Pasadena, California. Scale itself is running from March 14th to the 17th, and we're going to try to make it there. We currently have a goal of 8 million sats that we're trying to raise, and so far we've raised 1.6 million. This will probably be one of the last times we talk about it this year. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just mention it one more time. I know that's a very ambitious goal. We'll scale our coverage of NixCon and Scale based on the amount of funding that we get. We're hoping we get enough that we get an Airbnb for the crew and we can do some shows from California. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's in our soul. We need to do it. And we also have been getting some support for Fiat Fun. People that want to do one-time donation with their Fiat Fun coupons. Thank you to Chase H. and West Tex Jeff, who sent in a big $200. Fion L., who sent in a nice little chunk of change. Christian B., who sent in a nice contribution. And Timothy J.H., also a nice chunk of change for the Fiat Fun coupons. We'll have a link if you'd like to do a one-time donation in Fiat Fun. That will help also get us down there. And this is also our last live stream of the year. We're going into our holiday crazy schedule mode. We'll probably have a live stream on Saturday and I think the 10th. No.
You can tell how much we know what we're doing. 16th.
Thank you. So our next live show will be Saturday the 16th, and then we're off for the rest of the year. We'll still have live shows for our members, quote-unquote live shows, and we'll still have releases in the RSS feed. In fact, the Tuxies are coming up, our annual predictions, and more. But I just wanted to let you know. And the Tuxies votes, almost all over. This is your last time you're going to hear about it. And how many responses have we gotten so far, Wes?
2,251.
Woo!
We get to 2,500? I don't know.
That would be awesome. That might be a new record if we got to 2,500. Tuxies.party if you want to vote. If you're listening to this, you got about a week after publish date to get your vote in.
It's real easy. It's mostly multiple choice. So
yeah, it's really easy.
Now, I also want to remind folks that I'm still in Berlin, it seems, and I'm hosting a little bit of a meetup, a little gathering. It's pretty low key. It's happening at Seabase here on Tuesday the 12th at around 7 p.m. So if you're in the area, or I don't know, you can hustle, then meet us there. We're going to have a good time.
That is really great. Oh, man, you guys. It's going to be a busy spring. We'll talk about it more. I'm really, really excited about the opportunity to cover NixCon. This is all unique. Scale is such a unique event. It's an important event in Linux. NixCon, the first one in North America, is going to be really important. And podcasting is such a unique medium, especially independent podcasting. And so to get financed by our audience to get down there and cover these special events, it feels pretty great. So if you'd like to boost it and help us get there, we'd really, really appreciate it. And we'll have links and details in the show notes. All right. Turns out there's more and more ways to run these large language models locally on your Linux box, essentially having your own complete ChatGPT alternative that's private, that doesn't run on somebody else's equipment, isn't monitoring what you do. There isn't staff that review your message. I got a big pop-up on Bard this morning.
Is that? Oh, yeah.
And it said something to the effect of, this particular exchange that I just had will be reviewed by human staff. I'm like, whoa. I've never seen that before. That felt kind of gross, actually. I didn't really like that. It was like,
Did you regret your choices immediately or what?
Well, I was trying to come up with funny names for a show that was about getting control of these large language models that, you know, and I was kind of like inferring that the commercial ones were spying on you. And I was trying to come up with all these titles, and I was like, I'm going to send this to a human for review. And I'm like, I feel like I've just been reported to the teacher. And so
we should see how often we can get that to happen. Will they kick us off?
Well, I've come up with a series of controversial questions that I test all of these on. And I got to test these models that we tried as well. And that was kind of the idea here, is this is a really developing area. And often some of these areas, Linux gets left behind. But not this time around. In fact, some of the coolest stuff is easiest to get running on Linux. We primarily focus, there's a lot of ways, and I know we all veered off a little bit, but two of the tools that we focused on a lot that we want to tell you about this week are Ollama and Llama GPT. And we wanted to see which one was probably the best suited for our needs and what does what best and where they draw the line. And Ollama is like a package manager for large language models. You think that's kind of fair? It's like a wrapper around a repo of large language models that you can easily invoke, pull down, and then have a command line conversation with.
Yeah, so it's like it does a package manager, but it also is kind of like the execution agent as well, because it's like pulling down different models, and yeah, there's a bunch in there already. But then it also runs them and serves them both via an API and with a handy dandy little prompt you can connect to if you just want to talk text to it.
Yeah, when you just get started, which is really kind of quick and easy, it just drops you right into a command line prompt. And man, does nothing feel more like war games than being SSH'd into a VPS and having a slow conversation with a large language model running on a CPUs and having it slowly type back over my remote connection that's in a terminal. Some serious war game vibes right there.
It's kind of fun because it reminds you, at least if you don't have fancy hardware, like, we're still at the beginning of this era.
Yeah, this stuff can really push your rig. And it will, both of these projects, Llama GPT and Ollama, will try to suss out what your hardware is capable of. Is it capable of doing NVIDIA, CUDA? Is it capable of CPU? How many cores does it have? And it will try to optimize itself for your hardware as best as possible. So Ollama has, so it's probably fair to say Ollama is a little more advanced than Llama GPT. Llama GPT, the second alternative that we're going to talk about this week, is more of an all-in-one suite. You basically pick the size of model you want, and then in a Docker image, it pulls down a chat web interface. It pulls down all the backend stuff you need. It kind of has already picked the model to use for you. You just pick the size of that model, and then it just starts that all up and runs it. And what you get is a web UI that looks a lot like ChatGPT. It looks a lot like ChatGPT, and
just with like a little more options, a few more things exposed.
Yeah, and some nice things like you can store prompts that you use a lot with some variables in there and macros and things like that, which is really nice. But Llama GPT, I think, is much more suited for you're not really looking to play around with these different models.
You're looking to use them.
You want to get right to work.
Mm-hmm.
I have set this up for the wife, who was finding ChatGPT really useful for gardening information and recipe information and just questions about cooking. And so I thought, well, Llama GPT would probably be great for this because it gives her very much a ChatGPT experience. Of course, they're using Meta's open source Llama underneath. That's where the name comes from. I found it kind of, compared to Ollama though, I found it kind of not as much fun. I'm not sure if you guys got to try it.
Yeah, I'm curious what you guys, it depends on what you tried it and stuff, but I thought it was slower as well. I was kind of impressed by, it's not like Ollama was, blazing away just on the CPU or anything, but compared to Llama GPT, it felt a lot more responsive.
Yeah, I think also Ollama has newer, more updated models that might be more optimized, and they have more to pick from as well that are faster. True. Yeah. What kind of hardware were you doing this on, Brent?
Well, you see, I'm traveling.
Yeah.
Which means I have somewhat limited hardware, and I thought the option of still doing it locally was still really attractive. So I've got it going on my framework here, and I tried a few different methods actually. So I'm curious how you guys went about installing these guys. I know they both do some Docker containers, so I started doing that. But if you might remember, I'm also on NixOS, so I didn't do it the right way, and instead I decided to containerize the containers. So I used Wes, you'll have to remind me.
DistroBox?
Yeah, thanks. So I ended up using DistroBox to get like a Debian-based distro going, and then using that to throw. Gosh, it's late here. And now I'm questioning Chris. But why did I even do that? You convinced me to do that. Okay, let me restart that. So I ended up using DistroBox because, Chris, you convinced me that these were like scripts that would just sort of run on your normal distro. And then I had Docker just kind of orchestrate everything. And little did I realize while I was hanging out with dear friend of the show, Kenji, yesterday, we were at a Christmas market, because that's an experience here. And we pulled out our laptops and he's like, no, you don't have to do it like that. NixOS has Olama, like just one little command away. So, but they ran actually surprisingly well on my laptop. And it gave me that aha moment, because I would say I'm also quite embarrassed by this, but I'm a little behind with the, playing with AI stuff, despite at Nextcloud being the person who's advertising a lot of our AI features. And I just didn't know where to start.
Well, I think a lot of people are in that position. I think a lot of people are in the position of they've been hearing about these large language models. They know there's a way to run them on your own system, but they've just fallen a little behind because it's moving so fast. These step in and fill that gap.
Well, and my deep hesitation was always that I know I can get started very easily by just, going to get an OpenAI login and playing there. But I really was uncomfortable with that for the reasons you mentioned just earlier, how, some people are looking at your prompts and who knows what, where you're going to end up. And if the cozier you get with these things, the more perhaps personal information or information you don't want out there, you're sending out. So having a method to install these locally, either on the machine, on your lap, or even just in your network or your VPSs, just feels really nice for someone like me who cares deeply about privacy and isn't too sure about the implications. It feels like while we were testing this week, I had major light bulb moments, and just it felt like the tools were now at a place where I felt comfy with them.
I want to sidebar for a second, because you kind of touched on this. A lot of this tooling, and I feel like this is an unfortunate backward slide, just wants you to grab this curl command and slam it into your shell, and don't worry about it, bro. When it prompts you for your sudo password, it's all good. A lot of these tools, and I don't mean to diminish the work of the teams putting it together, because Olama and Llama GPT are fantastic, and they're giving us real alternatives to OpenAI's ChatGPT and the Azure stuff. But I also feel like it's one of the worst security practices, and yet it just seems to be super embraced by all of these AI projects. And Wes, you made a great point, and that is a lot of the tooling we use, like around containerizing these applications, kind of falls down when you want to do hardware-specific implementations.
Yeah, I mean, it can still work and stuff, but you're suddenly, instead of just running a simple command, you're having to pass through devices that might vary depending on your architecture and hardware and what needs to get accelerated and what libraries does that particular container include or not. And plus, of course, there's, those Macs in the corner of the room where they can run Docker, but you probably don't want to do it that way because you're not going to take advantage of the neat little accelerated chips that they've got if you do it on the Mac side. So suddenly, maybe you need something that can
cover
install these
cases,
libraries from Brew, and now you're like, okay, well, I can install them from app2 or pip, or and then there leads the road into darkness.
Well, and a shell script can sort out, okay, I'm on this OS, these commands to figure out, and it's these versions of these dependencies. I get it. It's just a little unfortunate to kind of see it going this way, because, I don't know, there's a lot of great ways to deliver applications. Llama GPT is a little bit better about this. Olama, in my experience, really is best if you just run their damn shell script. So I also did the DistroBox thing. I just wanted it all kind of self-contained.
I will say, so they do have a container you can use if you'd like.
Yeah, well, it pulls, if you use their shell script, it just pulls down a bunch of containers.
So as Brian was talking about, Olama is packaged in Nix, so you can just run it there. Or they've got manual install options, which we'll link in the docs, and is what I tried. And basically, you just download the Go binary. You make it executable, and then you can just run it. So you kind of have to run two. I think that's the main bit that its little script sets up is you've got the daemon part that sort of sits in the background, and then you've got your Olama that you interface with to actually go talk to the LLM. So you got to go if you do it manually, you download, you chmod it, then you tell it you run Olama serve, and just let it run there in the background. And then on a separate terminal, you can run Olama to actually talk to it. Say Olama run, and then the name of your model.
I think Ollama is the way to go for those that are curious what all these different models, like you've heard, like there's the Microsoft models and the OpenAI models and the Meta models and all these different, there's like more every day. And if you're curious what their actual differences are, Ollama lets you just install them like a package and try them. And there are things in there like Llama Uncensored. And this is fascinating, you guys, because different models from different groups have all these different limitations put on them. And many of these models just straight up refuse to go out and crawl websites or answer specific questions. So I like to always throw really kind of a series of standardized controversial questions where I ask controversial questions about establishment figures in political space in the US and see what it says to me. And I always just ask the same questions and I always try to see how it, because I can kind of get an indication of the bias. But the other thing I've been doing in this latest round of testing, and I found this to be really interesting, is I wanted to see which ones would reach out and browse the internet for me. And definitely like the Llama Uncensored one, there's a couple of models that you can install with Ollama that will actually go out on the internet. And it's intensely useful because you turn the large language model into an expert about a particular website. And so, for example, I had Llama Uncensored crawl the entire year's worth of Phoronix.com. And then I made this language model an expert on Phoronix.com content, and I asked it how many times Michael wrote about Linus Torvalds, how many times they wrote about Plasma and KDE. And I asked it the first article of 2023. And then, on top of that, I fed it LWN and 9 to 5 Linux, and I just started adding more and more sites to it, and it slowed it down. But then I could start asking which company, I wonder if you guys could guess, which company did all of these websites write about the most? There's 2 companies that stand out at the top of that list. Well, you could probably guess all of them, but the 2, can you guess what the top 2 were according to my large language model analysis? Yep, Microsoft. And Brent, can you guess the number 2 company?
I want to say Red Hat.
That's what I would have guessed. That's what it was actually, according to my large language model analysis, Canonical.
Ah, that was my number 2 choice.
I absolutely would have. With Red Hat's year, I totally would have guessed Red Hat. But no. And so this is where it started to become pretty useful for me, is when I realized, I can use it to kind of go do some work for me, and then I can interview it like a topic expert. And one of the other interesting things I had, and this is my last point, is Microsoft has a model on there that's very chatty, but very, very helpful. And it won't reach out to websites, but it'll tell me everything I need to build a Python script to go do that.
Yeah.
So then one of the things you can do, right, is then you go load a development-specific model. And there's coding models out there that are kind of like Copilot and whatnot. And then you go ask that. I just basically took the output from the Microsoft model and told the development model to go create me this.
Yeah.
And it starts doing it. And then later on in the evening, I had it write me a template for an automation in YAML for Home Assistant. And I switch. And there's even a model that's like a therapist model.
How'd that go?
I didn't talk to that one yet. There's math specific. There's domain expert models. Then I find that, and they're open source.
Yeah, there's one here that's a SQL coder. So I haven't tried that one yet, but it's definitely on the list.
It's fascinating.
It seems to me like the obvious next step then is similar to what you're seeing with Docker sometimes, is you end up with this orchestrating, LLM that's going out and reaching for the different models, the small fine-tuned models that are for the specific application that you just asked it, right? But it can't predict that until you actually ask the question. But that seems like the obvious route all of this is going in.
That does. I know AutoGPT was a thing for a hot minute. I don't know where that's at, if that ever became a thing, but it does seem like you need a supervisor GPT that's just asking, that somehow has the different models ranked for their expertise. And then it just goes out and tasks the best model for that particular thing. So it tasks the uncensored one to answer some questions. It tasks the coding one to build the Python script, just something sitting there jumping between them like that. That's doing all. I put one master question in, and then it sources out the work, kind of like subcontract models.
Chris, I'm curious, in all your testing, how did you find the accuracy? I'm specifically curious about the coding examples. Like, did you try them? Did they work as you expected? But also just Just generally, because that's something I really struggled with.
I never tried the Python. I aborted on that because it was taking forever. I did try the YAML, but the YAML was so basic, and I just had to replace all of the the names and stuff. That worked fine. Accuracy. You can't rely on it. Like, especially when I was having it scrape all the websites.
Yeah.
I would go. I'd have to verify it, and there were times where it definitely just hallucinated information, and I'm like, where the hell are you even getting this from? So the accuracy, I actually don't think it's as good as the commercial ones just yet. But the fact that you have access to multiple models that can be really purpose-built for a job, and you don't get that with the commercial stuff, feels like it's not actually an apple to oranges comparison.
I wonder too about the creativity, right? Like, so some of this stuff you can get, but you got to pay $20 a month for ChatGPT Pro or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once you've got, even if they're slightly less capable, less polished, whatever, I think we're just seeing the initial stages of it. But just how many things you can remix, you can rebuild, you can further customize and fine tune and play with. Even if we don't get to the full sort of like you're talking about, handing out all these Taskmaster type auto GPT things, which surely is coming, but it seems like even just like a dumber automation on top of that's still pretty good if you hand pick a couple models, right? You're like, oh, this is this one that I know gives me good results for these things.
Oh, you totally could.
Right? And then just you tie those together a little bit.
Yeah, you could do that today. Yeah.
I wonder too about like, can you get them kind of cross-checking each other?
Well, oh, wow, that's a cool idea.
Oh.
See, so just to bring it back to the root of this, Llama GPT is the one you go with if you just want a straight up ChatGPT alternative you can just get started with.
The other nice thing there is it has a OpenAI compatible API on top of it.
So yes,
which Ollama does not.
Yes, so you can kind of fall back.
Mm-hmm. Or if you have already tooling that you use, yeah, exactly. You can.
Ollama is more like a build it yourself AI environment that then has a large ecosystem. Like there's LogSec and Obsidian plugins for Ollama.
Ooh, I'm going to have to try that.
VS Code. There are web UIs that you easily can connect to it because there's an API and all that. There's Telegram and Discord bots, so you can chat with your Ollama instances through Telegram. That's pretty awesome. And then there's Ollama Hub, where you can go like find community models and all kinds of different mod files and stuff. And there's an online library. So I feel like the solid recommendation, I wonder if you guys would back this up, would be actually Ollama.
Yeah,
that's the one to really play with.
I think it kind of makes sense in that, like, just based on what it is and the tooling, it is much more kind of the tools we as Linux power users like, where it kind of just gives it all to you. You run it, it's pretty bare bones, it's easy to set up. Like getting, what's the other one, Llama GPT going? It totally worked, it's all Dockerized, but you could tell there was a lot happening. It's building and like recompiling node stuff, and several different containers are starting, which felt like a lot more just going on that maybe I wasn't taking full advantage of.
Yeah. It's like that's the more turnkey solution. The Llama GPT is the all-in-one, and Ollama you build up, but it's pretty straightforward. I feel like the main advantages, besides getting to play with this and sort of cutting-edge open source technology, is open source sometimes by some of the looser definitions of the term, I should point out. But you're not getting told no. Right? Like, it drives me nuts when my computer tells me no, or when my computer gets parental with me and starts telling me about moral choices. And like I asked ChatGPT a couple of weeks ago, what is the Southern gentleman's version of calling somebody sugar? So when they say, hey, sugar. And it told me that the Southern gentleman version of calling somebody sugar is darling or love. But then, and that was a one-sentence answer. And then it gave me 2-paragraph lecture about how these things change in culture and that I shouldn't get too fixed on one phrase or another, and that I should be okay with things changing because language is a natural. And I'm like, I don't need my computer to lecture me. I'm just asking a simple question. You got it in the first sentence. And you can fine-tune that kind of stuff with the self-hosted ones. And you don't, if you don't want those lectures, you're not going to get them. You don't have features that are paywalled. If it can do it, it'll do it. It's not going to tell you need to give it $20.
The other thing that's nice is, I don't know, but over the past year of just kind of playing with ChatGPT and some of the others in the background, boy, they sure change a lot, and not always in like a good way, right?
Yeah.
Like they get worse, they get more confused, they hallucinate more or less. Things that you got good answers on like a month ago, suddenly it's not doing so hot, which is all fine. Like I get it. They're experimenting. We're all learning here.
Right.
But at least with some of these, like you're like, oh no, I downloaded that checkpoint of that model and I know how it performs and I can go back to it if I want to.
Yeah. OpenAI, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see they tweeted last week that they're investigating reports that GPT-4 is getting more lazy. That they've got numerous reports that it's getting more lazy, that they haven't changed anything, but they're investigating. And it's like, what? Okay. But Brent, you heard of a really cool use case from a listener that's using a large language model locally to kind of accelerate development on their own machine.
Yeah, tonight I had dinner with listener Tomasz, who you might remember from my previous trips here. He's the one who threw me into a really cold lake and such. Man, I gotta say, our listeners are the best. I learned so much from them. So I went on a bit of a crusade this week when I knew this was our topic, and I thought, who can I hang out with? Who knows a lot more than I do in this regard? And had a lot of people to choose from, which is always a good problem to have. But Tomasz has been playing with hosting some models locally, but having them, and now this is near the limit of my understanding of how all this pieces together. So Tomasz, feel free to correct me because I probably got this wrong. But he's using Refract AI, which is a service provider who can allow you to use their graphics cards for rent if you want them to. And they host large language model services too. So if you want to use their computers instead of yours, you can totally do that. But they also have a self-hosted version, which has some nice perks. So you can host it yourself, but you end up with some neat features like having a plugin for your VS Code that allows you to do a bunch of cool stuff with the models that you have on your own computer as well. So I think, there's a lot of just making these things plug in together really easily. And so the use case he showed me is in coding, of course, but I don't know. Some people might be saying, oh, yeah, that's like old news. But for me, I just had so many light bulbs go off tonight. But one of the uses was like he uses it and finds it very useful for coding. Not necessarily to write everything that he's coding, but just to generate ideas and brainstorming. Yep. It's like you have someone there just co-coding with you who's like, hey, did you think about this method? Or and maybe that's not the answer you need, but because it's all local, he feels okay that it's grabbing all of the entire file that he's working on and including that in as a context to some of his questions. So as soon as he pulls up the chat interface, he can include an entire section of code very quickly, and just that adds it right into his context. And so he's getting some very accurate answers because all of this is just sort of automated for you in really beautiful ways in VS Code in a way that is just very user-friendly from what I could see. And it brought, before having seen that, I was like, these models seem kind of cool, but they're really inaccurate. And I don't know if I would ever use them because they just seem more problematic than anything. But after I saw that, it made me realize geez, that is a beautiful tool that we all should have. And so then I started playing with it sort of in my own context, which is less for code and more for just maybe writing marketing material for some technology and stuff. And same thing. So I brought up Alex's Perfect Media Server, and I had one of the sections up. So there's a ton of text, and then I just started typing a paragraph. I was like, oh, well, you want to run your own server because, and I just stopped typing, and a second or two later, it just as a ghosted piece of text, just filled out the sentence for me. And that was such a brilliant way to just have a constant brainstorming and creativity engine, like Wes was mentioning.
Yeah. Just
right there in your text editor. And that to me was this is exactly where we need to be heading.
As ever, our audience, they're way ahead of us. So if you've been trying out these tools at home, please do send us some feedback or boost in and let us know what we should be trying.
Oh, linode.com/unplugged. And guess what? It's one of your last chances to go take advantage of that. After many, many fantastic years of support, Linode is all done with advertising, not just on JB, but on podcasts, on YouTube. So it's an end of an era. Yeah. So Linux Unplugged, or linode.com/unplugged. If you still want to get that $100 offer while it still exists, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird, you guys. But we really appreciate their long, long support They really made it possible for us to go independent again. So thank you to Linode, and you can support them by going to linode.com/unplugged. Brave new world we enter into. And thank you, members. Thank you very, very much. All right, Drew, editor note to you. We're going to come out of the Linode ad, I think, with a modem dial sound a bit. And the West, will you cue me up to introduce the 32-bit challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. In 3s, in 2s.
Well, we've dialed in, we've connected to the BBS, we've punched our punch cards. It's time to officially unveil the 32-bit challenge.
It is time. So you can start preparing now as we enter into the holidays and the new year. You'll have a little bit of time. So here are the parameters of the 32-bit challenge. You must do this before January 7th, which I believe will be episode 544.
That's 2024,
Yep.
Future listeners.
Our first new episode will be back on our regular live time. And here is what you must do. A, you must get a functional 32-bit system running Linux. And B, you must use it for 1 full week of work, a general desktop workflow. You may swap out any of your regular apps that you need to. You can upgrade spinning Rust to SSDs if you need. If your system can take more RAM, you can put it in there. All that stuff is on the table.
You just got to keep that sweet, sweet 32-bit processor.
And you got to keep all the software 32-bit, and you got to run it for a week. And if you don't, if you are unsuccessful, there is a bailout punishment that you will also have to participate in, which we'll tell you about in a moment.
Okay, I have a question, though. Are we using this as like a dumb terminal to some other system, or are we doing all of our work locally?
No, it has to be a functional desktop workflow. And so my definition, that means, you can SSH into some stuff. Like I'm on my brand new machine, or brand new by comparison. I'm on a newer machine this weekend, and I'm SSH'd into a VPS. So like that is a legitimate workflow. But like I think an example might be you can't outsource your web browsing. Like you can't like somehow do like a remote desktop session and run a modern web browser somewhere else.
Yeah, no making it just a thin client.
Yeah, it's not a thin client. Yeah. So I think the approach, like say you want to do a mail client or a web browser, but they're too heavy, well then you got to swap it out to something else and make that work. And if you can't make it work, then you got to bail out. And if you bail out, one of the examples we have in our post-show meeting we had last week, an example of bailing out is can't get your apps to work, your desktop workflow apps to work. If you bail out, you must run a free BSD desktop in a VM on the hardware of your choosing for the remainder of the challenge. So if you make it 3 days in, you got to spend the rest of the challenge week in a free BSD desktop. It means you got to get one set up, you got to get a desktop working, and then you got to get your apps installed, and you got to use that for the remainder of the challenge if you bail out. We've all agreed to this.
Yeah.
And I am at a high risk, boys. So,
oh, no.
So, it was luck of the draw. I got the machine with 2 gigs. Wes got the machine with 4 gigs and cool stickers. Also, the Y key isn't working so well, so I got some keyboard dead spots. And the Wi-Fi card is definitely detected by the operating system, but the Wi-Fi card definitely does not detect any Wi-Fi networks. So I got no Wi-Fi. I've already been running some Gentoo on there, spoiler alert.
Whoa.
I'm behind. I need to catch up.
And that has been brutal. And I'm not doing that like network build stuff. I'm not spending time. I'm not doing that. So I am coming at this with 2 hands tied behind my back currently. And I refuse to run FreeBSD. So I am going to make this work with 2 gigs of RAM. I have gone through basically every desktop in the last few days. I got to say, that's a nice thing, I guess, is being able to swap through different desktops.
Right.
But, oh, man, does it take a long time to build. Oh! I basically just start in the morning. I go to work, and I come home, and it's still building. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So hopefully I don't end up on FreeBSD. So we have a 32-bit challenge chat room in our matrix that we've set up for this. We'll put a link in the show notes. You can also just go to bit.ly/32, the number 32-bit chat, if you'd like to get into our 32-bit chat room. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be hell, but I think we'll be better for it on the other end. And one of the questions I want to answer at the end of this is in 2023 and now 2024, is it actually easier to be an ARM Linux user than a 32-bit Intel Linux user?
Fascinating.
I'm starting because I've got plenty of ARM systems, so I'm starting to get a feel of that, and I think that's one of the questions I want to answer at the end of the challenge. All right, now we have one more kind of AI adjacent thing we want to talk about this week. This is an absolutely killer app for the Linux desktop, and it's called SpeechNote. Side note, also the largest Flatpak on my system. SpeechNote lets you take in audio or text in multiple different languages and then translate them to the language of your choice. So I've recently been doing a lot of Spanish to English, but you can do whatever. And it'll also do live voice transcription, live-ish, depends on the speed of your system. So you can speak into your microphone. And I've tested this in some crappy conditions on my crappy built-in laptop microphone, playing a Spanish trailer from my phone, just holding it over my laptop while SpeechNote did translation for me. So I could watch along. It was really cool. All running locally, no network needed, all private, no data is sent to the internet. And it has a bunch of different processing capabilities too.
Yeah, I mean, look at all these different sort of tools it's using behind the scenes. It can do speech to text with stuff like Vosk, Whisper, Faster Whisper. It can also do text to speech. It's got Piper in there, Mimic 3, Koki, TTS, a lot of stuff that you will see given as like, hey, what do I want to use if I'm going to do that? And they've already sort of tied it together.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I think its real strength is in voice to text. So you can sit there and on your Linux desktop locally now, you can transcribe, sort of like you can
take notes right from whatever you're listening to or talking at it. Or
it's really good at that. However, it also will generate speech, as you heard in our pre-show. And here's another example. This is a different voice. There's lots to pick from. Here's another one of their voices that I had just played around. I thought, let's have the AI thingy do the intro tease. So here's what it sounds like when SpeechNote takes over my role.
Coming up on the show, we tested 2 popular methods to find out which is best to run local language models on your Linux box. Then we pushed the limits to see which engaged models will draw the line and which won't. Then, after all that, a simpler tool that might be a real sneaker app of desktop Linux. Plus some great boost picks and more. I'm going to call it, guys. It should be a real banger.
It's got an interesting cadence, right? And then I want to play the pre-show one again. Notice there's breath in there.
Okay. The humans aren't recording yet. They are so slow. This is my big premiere. I'm finally co-presenting the biggest Linux podcast in the world.
You hear the breath in there? Isn't that something?
Yeah, some of them seem like they have like a hard clip at the end.
It's got to be the sample, right?
Naturally.
Some of them do. They fade well. Yeah, it's got to be when they sampled them, but it actually makes it sound more real almost.
Mm-hmm.
That flaw to it. So you can, and there's a lot of voices and a lot of languages to pick from. What this app is really good at is it's really riding the cutting edge of local speech and text capabilities on Linux right now. It's taken all of the different projects that I've been hearing about for the last 6 months and put them all into one UI that's like stable a good solid 70% of the time.
Yeah, C++, I think it's using Qt.
Yeah, it's crashed on me a couple times, but once you kind of get through its initial dialogues telling you about stuff, it's usually pretty rock solid.
That voice made me think it's, okay, we can tell that it's generated.
Yeah.
But, it's busy. Maybe it's like a fake news interview where you got traffic and city sounds behind there. Yeah. Or it's like on a phone call level quality.
Definitely. Or even Zoom.
Right. So could I start using this where I can type at it and it can just talk to the person on the support line while I'm waiting on hold?
If your system's fast enough. And man, these are like, I just did a handful. I didn't go through and figure out which one's the absolute best, right? There could be better ones in there. They're going to be, when they do get published, this thing has a directory and you can just go in there and browse them and download them and it pulls them right into the application.
Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about the Flatpak experience here? Because it sounds like there's a lot going on. You said it was a huge, massive download. And so I'm curious how Flatpak did with all those requirements.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well. So it is like a 2.6 gigabyte Flatpak install. And that comes with some of the essentials, but then you still pull down a bunch of the language models and speech stuff if you really want it. And that also can take time. That part goes surprisingly quick, I think, because a lot of the work's already been done in the Flatpak. And then depending on what you download, you get more features in the application. So if you download just the text-to-speech, then you just get that. If you download the speech-to-text, you just get that. They're two different things. And there's also the translator models, which you can also download. And there's a bunch of those to choose from. I would say SpeechNote and Ollama are similar in the sense that they can almost be overwhelming with their choice. Much like when you first initially come to Linux, it's almost overwhelming with its choice.
Yeah, no one's telling you like where to start. Just do this thing. And then once you got that down, you can branch out.
But if you just spend an hour or two playing around with this stuff, you pretty quickly start to figure out what works best, what doesn't, how to tweak it to get what the results you want, and get to something workable pretty quick.
Do you have some favorite like places to start? Like Whisper, is that where you would start for speech to text, for example?
I would definitely keep an eye on Whisper. I like that project a lot. Piper as well. The Koki, COQUI, seems pretty good as well. Whisper and Piper though are my two personal favorites because those came out of the Home Assistant project, and they have really great results. So, SpeechNote, it's on GitHub. Of course, it's a flat pack as well, and I think it came from Ungloved in the Matrix. Isn't that where we first heard about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Shout out to you, sir. Thank you very much. Collide.com/unplugged, KOLIDE.com/unplugged. Currently, the only sponsor renewed for 2024. So let's go give them some love. Collide.com/unplugged.
Well, geez, guys, it feels like we have a lot of Linux festivals going on, a lot of conferences and stuff that we need to plan for. It's making me a little bit nervous. Okay, first one we have here, Texas Linux Fest in 2024. That's from April 12th to 13th. And Chris, you calculated how many days away this is.
Pretty close, Brent. It's getting pretty close. 123-ish days, which is about, not counting this episode, about 14 episodes of LUP away.
I love how you're counting time in LUP episodes.
I think we should start doing that more. How many LUPs away is this thing that we have to deal with? And it's 14 LUPs away. I have gotten some bites on Jupe's parking, and thank you, but they're all kind of far away, so they ideally would probably work coming in or out. I've had 2 offers, and I would really would love to put the request out there one more time and say I'm looking for a mooch docking spot. That's a RV term for an RV spot in your driveway, in your property somewhere that's level that I could park Jupes and get in and out for a little bit while we attack Texas Linux Fest, because we're planning to be there for 2 weeks. And at $80 a night, that's very expensive. So if there was some piece of property or somewhere nearby the Austin area where Jupes could park, that would be fantastic. You could email me, chris@jupiterbroadcasting.com.
Now I'm curious, Chris, and Wes, for someone like me who's never been to Texas Linux Fest before, and what would you say to us as listeners who are thinking about it, not too sure, but so tempt me a little bit here.
Wear sunscreen. It probably won't be too hot, but April is starting to get to be nice weather in Austin, so it'll be a nice change of pace for you and I, Brent, other than for Wes, that's for sure. It's also right next to Terry Black's Barbecue, which is one of my favorite barbecue restaurants in the whole dang world, so come with an appetite. And it's a smaller event. It's kind of on the 600-person scale last time I saw it, somewhere in that range. But I think of Texas Linux Fest as kind of the startup community event of the fest. It's got a real high impact. You get a lot of bang for your buck. And it's in prime. It's like a prime real estate there in Austin. Austin's got a good tech scene with Linux people. And I think if they just keep at it, and they got a good organizational crew, our buddy Carl's one of the people involved. If they keep at it and they just keep iterating that conference, I think they're going to have one of the best conferences in the country for Linux users, because location, community that's already there, the team behind it that seems to really have their stuff together was, as much as any of these fests do. I think it all comes together to make one of the more exciting and up-and-coming fests and Linux events in the country. So I recommend it to everybody. It's where we met our buddy Alex. It's where I met Linode for the first time. Yeah. So, it's been a high impact. Met a lot of good people there. It's been a high impact event.
And then next up, we have Linux Fest Northwest 2024. It seems like, geez, we just did that.
Yeah,
they're calling it Ready or Not, which seems appropriate. And it's right on the heels of the last mini fest that happened. How many LUP episodes ago?
I didn't do the math on that. 3 or 4, 5.
A few.
And it's right on the heels of Texas Linux Fest, too. It's April 26th through the 28th. So Texas Linux Fest is just a couple of weekends before that. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on.
And Linux Fest Northwest does have its call for speakers out.
Until the 2nd of January. So it's coming up quick. Get your talks in.
Yeah, it's coming up.
30-minute lectures, 90-minute hands-on labs, or full-day workshops or even mini events if you want to be bold.
Yeah. And like we said, then after that, it's NixCon and Scale. We really should not be complaining.
No.
Because a couple of years ago,
we had killed for one of these.
That is just it right there. That's what we have to remember, is we almost lost all of these. And they're not all doing great. And but they're trying. And how many times have we come on air and said, man, you guys, the in-person stuff is so much more important than you realize. Even for us antisocial introverts that don't really like to go out, don't really like to talk to people, it's such a bigger deal than we can possibly understand. Stupid lizard brain.
That said, Chris, FOSDEM's coming up as well. I know they have a call for papers. You might only have a couple days left, so that might be the limit by the time this publishes. But hopefully, if you didn't get a talk in, I'm going to try to make it this year. I have a few people to convince, but it's one of those fests that we haven't had the chance to go to, and I think I want to change that this year. So look out for that.
That's more than a fest. That's an event.
And now it is time for Le Boost.
VT52 comes in with our baller boost this week, a Spaceballs boost, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sats.
So the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life.
I think it's brilliant. VT, we might have lost your message in transit because Podverse currently has a race condition that drops some of the messages. There is a fix already out, but that stuff takes a bit to trickle through the App Store and probably almost a week to trickle out into F-Droid. So if you sent that in, you can always, a make good amount. How about 1,333 sats? We'll keep it low, but something we can recognize as a make good boost, and put your message in there and we'll get that on air. But thank you for being our baller. And we'll put that right towards our bounty to get to Scale and NixCon. So really appreciate that as well.
Clever Compiler boosts in with 109,570 sats.
Coming in hot with the boost.
Oh, that's across 2 from Podverse working this time. I'm a party member, but I wanted to send a zip code boost with some help for Scale.
Thank you. That is really generous.
And here's my tech horror story.
Oh, good. Okay.
In my 20s, I worked as a computer tech at Future Shop. One day, I was installing a 56K modem in a gateway PC while chatting with the other tech. And I forgot to turn the computer off before inserting the PCI card. Fortunately, I only fried the modem, but I never made that mistake again.
You know what, Clever Compiler? I have a sense you and I are about the same age. And I have done that once, too. Also, pour one out for Future Shop.
And for gateway PCs.
Yeah. Now, is that a gosh darn zip code boost, Wes?
Yes, it is.
All right, what do we got?
Not too far away. It's a postal code in Washington County, Oregon, including such cities as Beaverton.
Well, hello, Beaverton. Well then, Clever, I hope we see you at Scale as well. You're helping us get there with that boost.
Oh, okay. And then there's the second boost for 12,345 cents.
Hey, Wes, you know what I think that is?
Spaceballs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. That's amazing. I've got the same combination on my luggage.
This one's directed at our dear Brentley. Brent, I'm finishing up LUP 537, and I heard you mention losing your tabs to a reboot. I had the same problem myself till I found Session Buddy. It makes it easy to restore my tabs and even transfer them to another computer via export and import. Greetings from a fellow tab hoarder.
Yeah, there you go, Brent. You could really do some stress testing on Session Buddy.
I'll say I actually have been low-key using Session Buddy for a long time. It's nice.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Have you tried this?
What do you use it for, Wes? How did it come into your life, and is it indispensable for you now?
Well, it's nice for when you kind of want to just switch activities. There's more ways to do it, but Session Buddy can be one way. Like, let's say I'm doing a bunch of show research, and then I want to switch to, I'm tackling some personal stuff or looking at Christmas gifts or, whatever other activity. You could just have a new window, but if you don't, you're not coming back to those tabs for a while, you just save those in Session Buddy, and you can resume, open up that session whenever you want. Plus, you can configure it to sort of auto take snapshots of what tabs you have open. So, like, if your browser crashes or something goes haywire, you've got, like, whatever your recent history was.
So he could save, like, a whole bunch of tabs and just set them aside and close it, and then just recall them when he needed them.
I do that basically before and after every show.
Brand.
Well, that's exactly what I need.
Right.
I've been playing with one tab, which is not dissimilar to this, but it sounds like Session Buddy might just be one step more. So
I mean, we'll see if
I might just have me a new buddy.
We'll see if it can hold up to the QA chief, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the real test.
Yeah, thanks for the tip, Dan. Woodcarver came in with 65,500.
Rotted Mood went up, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have an old doc.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, I did sneak in.
Rotted Mood sent in 100,000 sats and just said scale boost again.
Do you just want to read it? That would make it easier.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
We can reorder it, so he could do Wood.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Sorry, guys. No internet.
No, you do Woodcarver after I do this. Rotted Mood comes in with 100,000 sats and just says, scale boost! Again. Thank you, sir. And thank you for being a big old baller, too. Appreciate that.
Now, Woodcarver came in with 65,535 sats.
Coming in hot with the boost.
Saying, hey, my last boost was completely random since I just kind of emptied my Albi wallet. So here's an integer boost to clear things up.
Well, that's way better. Thank you. We were having some discussion after the show, and we all had concern.
Indeed. Yeah, 65535 is the maximum value of an unsigned 16-bit integer.
Thank you,
for some reason you didn't know.
Now we need one in the theme for the 32-bit challenge. Appreciate the support. First of 300 comes in with 50,000 sats and definitely says, here is my biggest TIFU. I blew away our configuration for our prod Kubernetes cluster. The worst part, we had no backups of those configs. Oh, man. We were using the cluster API project to deploy our clusters, which manages the clusters using Kubernetes custom resources. Yeah,
Isn't that always how it goes?
I deleted the custom resource, and thankfully the controllers using those resources were also deleted, so they couldn't actually destroy everything. I proceeded to panic before customer impact. I proceeded to spend the next 2 days reconstructing the clusters using Terraform and a rewritten resource config. After finishing rebuilding everything, we migrated off the orphan clusters without incident. Our principal software engineer even remarked that he wouldn't have known anything had happened if he hadn't been told about it. We wound up with a happy ending. But those 2 days were a brutal slog, rebuilding everything.
Gosh, yeah, right. You're kind of stuck. You're like, well, until I get things migrated, I can't really touch this existing. I just have to hope everything keeps working.
Man, he got lucky that he had enough resources over provision to kind of absorb that, too. That could have gone a totally different direction, first of 300. Wow.
It's nice we live in the cloud era, too, where you can be like, okay, I'm just going to spin up a new thing. We'll migrate, get rid of the old.
Yeah.
And...
Ooh, thank you for the boost. That was a good one.
McZip comes in with 50,000 sats from Cast-O-Matic.
Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, thank you. Let's see. I'll pick a good one for him. Man, McZip is a consistent booster. Really appreciate that.
Well, one of the regulars. We love you. Stacking for scale. Need more Nix reporting to finally push me over the edge of installing Nix, that is.
We're here for you. We're here for you.
Hydradrate. I need a new mouth. Anyone go to those?
Hydragium?
Hydra drum? I think Hydra is its own thing. Hydragyrum.
Hydragyrum came in with 24,690 sats over 2 boosts using the podcast index. It looks like the very first one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Satoshis.
We know what that is. That's our third one of the week.
We're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed.
Just moved my sats from Fountain to Albi, so I'm finally boosting again. I recently switched over my desktop, laptop, and server over to, you guessed it, Nix OS, and I'm loving it.
Oh, wonderful.
Almost every app I needed that isn't working in Nix packages, which is usually just some interaction with Sway or Wayland, works fine in a Flatpak. The only thing I've had real issues with so far is ESP-IDF for embedded development because of how it handles itself with VS Code. Now, as a follow-up with another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Satoshis.
Smoke if you got 'em.
I felt like sending some more with Add Winter as it is. Plus, I want to hear more Spaceballs sound bites.
Dang right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Hydrogram.
It's a nice little real-world Nix OS report. Like we really don't want to pretend that everything works or everything's easy, right?
Yeah. VS Code can actually be surprisingly maybe a little trickier than people expect.
Yeah, especially like if you've got any kind of sandboxing, Flatpak, or just the sort of Nix, all the crazy paths going on with Nix. And VS Code needs to find all of its things, and the plugins have certain assumptions about where they can find like the development files or the JVM or whatever, compilers for your embedded environment.
Yep, it is true. I like those on the ground reports. I think we got to keep it real. I think, we got to be careful not to oversell it. So thank you for doing that. That's a valuable boost in multiple ways and gave me a chance to play an extra Spaceballs boost. So I appreciate that, Hydra. Ghost Mullet, love that one, comes in with a row of ducks. That was way too loud. I'm going to do that again. I'm doing that again. I had it turned up because the million's so low. How great is that one, though? The smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Smoke if you got 'em.
That's so good.
We should just normalize all of those.
I know. Well, you'd think the fucking thing would just do that. You'd think that's what you think the song.
Yeah.
God, it's so obnoxious. Road ducks. All right, here we go. Ghost Mullet comes in with a row of ducks. Love that name. So what used to be listenable over a commute or a commute and a half will now have to roll into work and out into cooking because I'm a new party member. Woo! And this week's member feed was a banger of 3-hour goodness. That's true.
I have a secret.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Every member's feed is 3 hours.
Yeah, they're
pretty
often
much.
they're bangers. Yeah. Even when we're not live over the holidays, we'll still have member versions of the show. The only problem is Drew makes it sound real good. So you got to make that choice. We do have a version for the members that has still got all the Drew goodness, but just no ads as well. As a way of saying thank you.
Faraday Fedora boosts in with another row of ducks. The TLDR for my big IT mix-up. Don't trust no-name raid cards from eBay, even if they've been working at the company longer than you have.
Oh man, what about unknown history hard drives that are like 7 years old? Faraday?
We should probably get some cheap raid cards just to throw in.
Yeah. Especially when those drives are getting so old.
Uh-huh.
Also, I think it accelerates ZFS RAID.
Yes.
I think it's good.
That's what
for
they
that.
recommend is you
Right.
get really cheap raid cards to help ZFS out.
Really, really good for that. Faraday, thank you for the boost. And do not listen to us. We are just kidding.
Eve blasted 2,500 sats our way.
All right.
And said, hey, here's a small contribution for the scale trip.
Thank you. Every sat counts. We'll put that towards the trip. Nice. Noodles comes in with another Spaceball boost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sats.
1 million space bucks. 1 million?
Oh, Pizza the Hut. It says, hello and good luck with Scale. I live nearby in the Central Valley, but I can't make it. Make sure to do lots of coverage, though, of Nix OS. I love the Spaceballs boost sounds. It might just end up being my default amount that I boost in. Noodles, thank you for helping us get there. We'll put that right towards Scale, and we will try to do our best on the coverage.
Well, we got 6,100 sats from, I think, a name that appears to be a space or just empty. So thanks for that.
All right. Thank you, though. It's like an anonymous secret Santa sending us some sats.
All the sats count. So
okay.
Ryan also came in. Oh.
Or it might be a weird bug, but nobody will know that it was them.
Right. Well, we do have the Make Good boost. 1,003 lucky threes. You can let us know.
Ryan boosts in with 4,506 sats. I was prepping for a cutover to a new SAN on our ESX cluster at our production site. Connected the new SAN via the existing fiber channel switches and started prepping to move the host.
Sure.
I then lose connection to the management hosts I was using. Logged into the ESX host direct and find it purple screened.
Uh-oh.
Then all of the ESX hosts purple screened. Lost all the VMs. No AD, no management hosts, very little of anything.
Oh my God.
Found out our old hosts had a bad firmware on the fiber channel cards so that when you connected a new SAN, it would purple screen the host.
No.
Would have found out if management had not canceled the support contract because it cost too much.
Oh my goodness.
And also, this is a postcode boost from Australia.
Well, hello, Australia.
Yeah, 4506 is a postal code in Australia. Cities like Murrayfield and Brisbane.
Okay. Well, hello, and thank you for sharing that pain with us.
Wow.
We take that pain, and we feel it. That, man, to get bit by a firmware like that.
Would just be so devastating.
So, not the same, but there was, and Dell server guys out there will remember this, there was an era of Dell servers that had bogus tape drives, and it lasted years. And you wouldn't necessarily always know until you went to do a restore, and man, that got us once. And it turned out the backups were no good. And, you know, I don't even know. I mean, I think the server was a few months old. I can't remember. It was really upsetting. And then they replaced the tape drive, and it still wasn't fixed. It was a whole ordeal. And, you know, when you put everything in a VM and then the VM environment goes out, that's always why I've kind of been a big fan of leaving one DNS and DHCP server outside the VM stack and one AD controller outside the VM stack. If you can. It's not always an option, but if you can. Oof, feeling that one. Thank you for the boost, though.
Advrise came in with a total of 6,810 satoshis
I am
across
programmed in
4
multiple
boosts.
techniques.
The first one, 1701 satoshis. Hey, since we're talking about oops moments, well, I've got one too. I had just started my career in IT working for a hospital and had recently been put in charge of our application development and operating system deployment systems called Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It's quite the name.
Oh, yeah. No, it does what it...
CCM.
The product, what it does is in the name. It's on the can.
The previous employee who had all the knowledge was gone, and it was up to me to figure out how the system worked, what needed to be done, and how to maintain it. Keep in mind, I'm 19 at the time.
Oh, man.
One of the things that needed to be done is to update the deployed versions of Windows.
Well, I'm sure I'm sure the last guy had great documentation.
Detailed notes, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
So I began figuring out how to create, manage, customize the operating system deployment piece of SCCM. Being someone who likes automation, I found that I could remotely tell any computer with the SCCM agent on it to automatically reboot into the Windows PE environment and begin the imaging process, wiping the disk, installing the new Windows version, and all other company software that needed to go on there. It came time for the operating room workstations to be reimaged. Being the operating room, they're quite busy, and I had to do it during a time when they were not being used. Luck would have it.
Been there.
Ooh.
Yep.
Luck would have it. Most of the rooms were open after 5 p.m., so I went and scheduled the deployment of the image for these workstations. SCCM uses UTC by default unless you hit another checkbox during the deployment to use client local time. I did not check that checkbox. So right on schedule, at 1700 hours, these computers started re-imaging.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It turns out, being in Central Time, we were 6 hours behind UTC, which puts us at 11 a.m., right smack dab in surgery. Thankfully, the doctors were able to continue that surgery without their charting computer, and the nurses just pulled up a laptop from another room. But I did learn very quickly to double check every deployment from that point on. I didn't lose my job, actually still work for the same company a mere 3 years later.
Well, you won't make that mistake again.
You just UTC everything all the
time. Oh, time math. Adversary's been there. Man, have I been there when you take out the system right in the middle of prime time when you meant to take it offline worked during like low-key hours. Whew. Yeah, imagine also, I've been there, had that happen at a law firm, I've had that happen at a doctor's office, and I've had that happen at a bank. And none of those places like that very much. None of them do. Soltros comes in with 5,000 sats using the index, says, well, I can't think of a specific horror story of mine right now. I'll say that I bet 80% of us have accidentally DD'd over a hard drive or a USB thumb drive at least once before. Yeah. My most absolute shameful. I mean, I've done some whoppers. Like one of them, my small whopper was, I was planning to keep source files of every video we've ever made at Jupiter Broadcasting. And this was getting on this big, massive external, and I had 2 identical ones that were used for 2 different types of projects. One at the time was for client projects, and one was for JB projects. And I had mislabeled them. And I hooked up the one that I thought was for client projects and did the annual format. And I had wiped all of our video footage. And it was at that moment I was like, well, I guess I'm not keeping source files for everything forever. I just had to make peace with that. But the real whopper, we had videos of the kids being born. I'm not a huge fan of doing it, but Ange really wanted it. And it happened at home, and it all kind of happened fast. So I grabbed the camera, the studio camera. I have a tape in there. And I recorded the birth.
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't take the tape out, like, because I was using a work tape. It got all mixed up with the work stuff, and I think I just recorded right over it. Birth of my child.
I wonder what you recorded over it.
I just think so I used to do back then in-studio tape backups of the shows.
Oh.
Because, like, you know, the Hackintosh might crash. So we'd have in-camera tape backups of everything. Because we were running the audio and the video all through the camera. Mm-hmm. And so I would just have a tape in there and just hit record and just, as a backup, have it. And it's probably just some random episode.
Yapping on.
Sitting in front of a green screen, yapping my dumb mouth. So that's my worst data loss story. And, you know, it's back in the tape days. So what are you going to do, Wes? What are you going to do?
Eric comes in with 12,345 cents.
So the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life.
And continuing the, I'm just a vessel to chat with Brent for the boosters.
Yeah.
Brent, have you checked out the NixOS hardware repo and their Framework 13th Gen Intel files? I really like the NixOS hardware repo as it puts the collective knowledge of hardware configuration and kernel tweaks in a single place.
Yeah.
You know, thankfully I was tipped off by this at the last NixOS meetup here at Seabase, where just after I unboxed the framework at one of our JB meetups, I went to the NixOS meetup and had a bunch of people tell me exactly what I should be doing right. So I did learn about this early on, and it was amazing. And then it was one of those moments where you're like, oh, some people are doing amazing work out there, and I just need to, like, copy and paste one little thing to take advantage of all that work. This is amazing.
That sounds like it's worth a Seabase membership right there.
It sure is. And because of that, just today, I shared this very repo with our dear friend Alex, who just, he didn't say it online yet, but he just unboxed his framework today.
Oh, exciting.
This is my explanation to folks when they're like, well, what's the big deal about Nix? I'm like, okay, well, here's an example of what makes Nix great. Some person a couple of months ago got themselves a framework laptop, and they noticed their headphone port had some buzz on the line. And they're like, well, how do I fix this? And through whatever process they went through, they solved with a couple of with a couple of lines in the config. They solved the buzz on NixOS systems. And then they share that 2-line fix on the internet, and now every Nix user has that buzz solved. It's across the board. You put it in there, and it stays fixed forever. It's really nice like that. So, all right, I'm done, but I'm just trying to explain myself. Exception comes in with 5,000 sats, sending us some fountain funds to help us get to scale, and says, keep up the stellar work. Well, thank you, Exception. Appreciate that.
I think that was supposed to be Brent. Maybe
that's fine. I can take this next one. Our dear Gene Bean came in with 12,222 sats over 2 boosts, and I think I know what that means. There's a row of ducks as the first one. Hey, Boost just now made me think maybe the community could help. I'd love to see a fully fleshed out Hyperland setup for NixOS laptop that includes a login manager, power management included, for when the lid is closed, graphical interaction with Wi-Fi networks, and high DPI support. Here's what I have so far just for reference, and it's seriously lacking, but it is pretty, and they included a link to their GitHub repo where they have their Nix config.
The challenge said, have at it, y'all.
This is actually a brilliant idea Gene has just stumbled upon. Why don't we have the community coming up with some cool mixes of Nix where you get great desktop experiences, and then we throw those up on GitHub and people can use them and try it? Like, that's a really good idea, Gene. I hope somebody takes you up on this. So he wanted to get Hyperland with a login manager with power management when you close the lid.
Sort of like a nicely tuned setup. Hyperland.
I like that idea a lot.
Gene also sent in 10,000 more Satoshis to say, hey, don't get distracted by the shiny distros while planning for that 32-bit challenge. Gentoo should still be on your to-do list.
Keeping us honest. I love it.
Gene, how is Gentoo not the shiniest of the 32-bit distros? Gentoo is the shiniest of them. Have you looked at the distros that are available for 32-bit Linux? It's bleak, Gene. It's bleak. I think Gentoo is top of the list, if you ask me.
Complete Noobs comes in with Roadux. Little Xmas sales tip-off. The Razer Core X allows you to use a desktop GPU on your laptop as long as it's got Thunderbolt 3 or better. Keep an eye on Razer.com to buy direct. Last year, I got an 80% discount. Expect discounts again between now and the new year. And the best part, if you're using Linux, you can pass through the GPU to a Windows VirtualBox. Tried and tested on my ThinkPad T470. And then there's a little link we'll include over to Complete Noobs blogs where they got some deets on that.
If we can find it, we should find the episode we had a couple of years ago with Alex where we get into that. And we talk about eGPUs and we talk about dedicating a VM to use that eGPU. I still have mine. I don't find it to be the most practical solution for my laptop, so I don't tend to use it much. But that is a really good tip for those that aren't aware. If you've got Thunderbolt on a Linux machine, you could be going around low-key all day with Intel graphics or whatever, embedded AMD or whatever. Well, probably not if you're going to have Thunderbolt. You'll plug it in, though. Boom, you can have a big old PCI Express graphics card. And it may not be a 16x speed, but it'll probably be, like, I don't know, 4 or 8, whatever it is. It'll totally crush compute. It'll be great for that. And honestly, I've used it for gaming, too. It's been totes fine. You want me to take the last?
Oh, sorry. Whatever. Was that a you or me? We didn't actually decide anything there. Lot Impacts came in with another row of ducks. Simply saying, will it scale?
Oh, I get it. Thank you. Thank you for the duckies to help us get down to scale. Nice little haul this week, everybody. We are trying to stack up to 8 million sats, and this week we had 22 boosters, and we added 600,540 sats to that, milestone? And we added 600,540,000 sats. Did I get that wrong? I'm just getting tired.
600,540.
Yeah, I'll get one more time. I'm getting tired. And we added 600,540 sats to that milestone, which is definitely going to help. Thank you, everybody who boosted in. We try to get to every message above the 2,000 sat cutoff. If you would like to boost, there's so many ways to do it, but I think the top ways are with a new podcast app, because then you get like 90-second notifications once the new episode's been out. You get live stream support, which we'll be talking about. Wow, that might be really great when if we get down to scale and we can do a show, I want to do it lit in a new podcast app. There's a lot of new features in there, and you also get the boost support. But if you're not ready to switch apps, and I understand, I think you should consider the Strike app. It's available in 36 countries. It's on the Lightning Network, and then you can just get some sats. You can send them to Albi. You can even just boost now directly from the Fountain FM website and scan the QR code. You go to getalbi.com, put some sats in there, and boost from the podcast index using the web. It's a little bit of a journey because you are going into, a brand new frontier. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep podcasting as independent as possible. And when you boost, there's no company between you, your value, and the value you receive. It's just a peer-to-peer network. It's all using open source software. And I just think it's a good experiment. And if we can find a way to use free software and an open network to fund open content, I think that's a model that is reproducible, and there's value in that. And I think there's value in keeping podcasting independent and thriving And so I appreciate everybody that takes the time to walk that hill, to get those sats, to get that set up, because then once you're boosting it, it's a lot of fun, and we just love getting your messages. And it also creates sort of spontaneous moments for us in the show. And a big shout out to everybody who streams those sats as they listen. We see you, and we appreciate you. Please do keep boosting in. We'll be reading them. Now we are going into the holiday schedule. So if you'd like to boost in and give us updates on your 32-bit challenge, please do, because when we come back on the 7th, we will be reading those. We have one more regular episode that will be covering the boost, and then we're off into our holiday specials and back on the 7th. So you can stack those sats while we're gone, send us your 32-bit results and more. I think it's going to be great. You guys will really love the holiday specials this year. So stand by. All that'll be coming up in your feeds. You don't got to do a thing. Okay, West Payne, you can only pick one. Which is our app pick this week?
Ooh.
2 very good choices. One brought by Brent, one brought by you. So I know there's some bias there, but I'll allow it.
I got to go with Brent.
Oh, I didn't expect it. All right, we'll save the other one for the future, but this is a really great looking app. Tell us about Marker, Brent.
Yeah, I found this one coming across our shelf, and I figured it fit in with our theme this week. Marker is a neat little application that converts PDFs, EPUBs, and MOBI files to Markdown. It's about 10 times faster than Nougat, which I haven't used, but it is more accurate on most documents and has low hallucination risk. So you just heard it. It's got some AI stuff going on in the background to help you convert these things.
Yeah, if you got a big old fancy GPU, it'll use that to crunch this, but it'll also work on your CPU.
Nougat is a neural optical understanding for academic documents, but it's like a PDF parser. So yeah, it sounds like in the same place as Marker.
These are some really cool tools where I feel like you can set aside all the hype around AI. This is like the practical, what you can use it for stuff today on your own machine without any cloud services. And
it's not replacing you at work. It's just making you
another tool.
A little better to work with PDFs, which no one likes.
Right. Like if I can interrogate a large language model about a particular topic for 10 minutes and get more informed, you got to double check it right now, but you can see the direction that's going. Or if I can use something like Marker and take a proprietary PDF or something that's locked up in an EPUB and use some sort of AI model to OCR that, that's a win, and that's a legitimate use for these tools. So I think that was our real goal with this episode, is to take things like speech, to take things like the large language models, and to take things like text recognition and figure out the areas where it's really useful today and you can do it on Linux.
Marker seems like it'd be another great, maybe there already are, I don't know, but like another great addition is a Obsidian or LogSeq plugin, Don't even store the PDF, just store the converted Markdown.
That's really all I want, so I can search it.
Obviously, if it's accurate enough, et cetera, but the potential.
They're all there if you're willing to check them right now. I think all these tools are there if you're willing to check them for occasional hallucinations. But I don't think it'd be a surprise at all by the end of 2024, when we're in December, to start saying these tools are like 95% there. All right, we're at the 10%. We'll see how long it takes. We just don't know yet. I got to figure there's more tools that we've missed too. So if you know of any, do boost them in. Also, your holiday wishes, if you want to send those in, and your 2024 predictions. We also want to get those in.
That's like my favorite time of year.
It's going to be a wacky year. You just know it.
Yeah. And then last but not least, Tuxies.party. You got a couple of days left to vote if you haven't yet. Now, our next live stream will actually be on Saturday. And we're doing it at 11 a.m. Pacific, we decided?
Yeah, Saturday the 16th at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
So if you want to join us for the last live show of the year, that's when to do it. Our live lug will be open. Our mumble room will be there if you'd like to get in there and get
Love you have you. It's always a little bit weird when we shift schedules, so we really appreciate anyone who can make it.
Yeah, if you normally can't make it on a Sunday, but you could on a Saturday, you need to show up, because most people won't, because we change it. And when you change it,
all bets are off.
It really is funny. It is funny how that works. Links to everything we talked about today, that'll be at linuxunplug.com/540. Of course, we'll have links to the tools we talked about there, and our subscribe link, our contact form, all of that, the RSS. That's all there. And we just always appreciate if you get an opportunity to share the show with somebody. Word of mouth is the number one way to spread podcasts. When you think about how long these things are, who's going to listen unless a trusted friend tells them it's worth it? So we appreciate that. Now that does wrap it up for this week's episode. Love to hear from you. And of course, as always, appreciate you listening. Thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of your Linux Unplugged program. I swear I'm not a robot. I swear. And we'll see. Not yet. Soon. maybe in a year or two, we'll have an episode that's totally done by AI, and we're taking the week off.
If the show quality suddenly rapidly improves, that's how you'll know.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday, as in Sunday. Or Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Drew. Thank you. I'll stop. We should stop. We're getting long. I'll stop.
Okay.
Were you saying something? I had to mute it for a second.
Oh yeah, I was.
Sorry.
I got a little story for you, which I'm still willing to tell if you're willing to listen.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think
that's fine.
I don't think there's a lot of fat for him to trim this episode, so I just wanted to wrap it up.
Oh, I got it. I'll stop. Yeah,
it'll be a member special.
All right, so tell us about your story.
Okay. So if you remember last week, I was complaining about how my framework was getting, hot in the bag, if you will. It was.
This is supposed to be family friendly, Brent.
Woo!
What I mean is, while it was sleeping and was in my backpack or so while I'm traveling and such, it wasn't sleeping very efficiently. So it would use up quite a bit of battery power, especially, if I had it packed up while I was traveling, let's say on a long flight. And when I get to my destination, it's lost like many of its battery potential.
That's
I'm
a bummer.
talking 30 to 40%.
Oh, yeah.
So leave it to like a long trip, and all of a sudden I'm getting to my destination with a dead laptop, which is never fun. So I did a call out asking for some desperate help to help me with this, because I knew I had that NixOS hardware module built in, but yet still struggling. But as I mentioned earlier, I was hanging out with our dear friend Kenji here in Berlin, who is a NixOS, savant,
Wizard?
expert, whisperer, just an all-around lovely person, really. And we, as we always do, near the end of our night, ended up at Seabase again, the little hacker space that's here in Berlin that seems to grab me every single time I'm here. And we had a lovely time. I was allowed in the members area without actually being a member,
Ooh.
And we hung out there, which was really fun. And there's some people who hang out there regularly who are responsible for organizing the NixOS meetup on every Tuesday, who are also quite high up in the NixOS community.
Delightful.
I will see what I can do about trying to maybe get an interview or get them on the show at some point. So I had a lovely time because I was able to sit down with these gents and say, hey guys, help me here. I got, I'm hot in the bag, That's what I said. And we set up something pretty cool. They helped me set up some, hibernation, first of all, on my machine, which took a few little NixOS config changes, which are helpful, and I'll share with you, gents. But the other thing that we set up, which I think is really slick, is an option to sleep when the lid is closed, but then after a certain amount of time, move to hibernate even while the machine is asleep. So many machines cannot do this from a firmware perspective, but it sounds like the framework can. And I don't know. This is just so slick, and it works perfectly, of course. And I'm really happy with that as a solution to my hot bag issues.
I do love the name of hot bag, though. That's good. That's good.
I'm glad to hear a happy ending too.
Yeah.
Well,
So I went for clickbait, right? I I went for running Uncensored AI on Linux because I thought, like, what would I tap on if I, for this topic?
Yeah.
But then I later, after we stopped the pots, I thought, "Oh, llama in the kitchen of your mama."
You thought that, or did it think that?
No, I came up with that because it's a play on "Make a Bomb in the Kitchen of Your Mom," which is like a big deal during 9/11.
That is so specific.
I know it's a weird thing, but back during 9/11, the CIA made this big deal about a magazine going around that had an article in it. This is really before the internet, but then the big deal was it came onto the internet, and the whole article was how to make a bomb in the kitchen of your mom using just household utilities to make bombs. And this was a big deal.
Cookbook.
You remember this?
Anarchy Cookbook didn't. Yeah. It was that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We made some napalm from that. It was great.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh man.
Quite easy.
We're just
too,
boring
actually.
in Canada. We're not doing any of this.
So, Olama in the kitchen of your mama is kind of a play on that.
Right.
But I think it might
like it.
It's probably a little obscure,
It's a
right?
bit of a stretch. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
But I like Olama in your kitchen.
Oh yeah, Lurks. I'm sorry. I don't think Fluffy does polls. Also, I had something like slam your curl into what was it? I had something like that too at one point.
You are on something today.
Woo!
It's not actually him. It's his new llama pet.
Yep. I got llama.
Can we get llama?
You'll never know now. You'll never know. You'll never know. Taskmaster llama, whipping up your own llamas. That's kind of funny, Lurks. I'm going to give that a vote.
So is it going to be who feeds the llama now, not who feeds the horse?
Llama drama.
That's cute.
Hey, did we play the Winamp clip? That would have been so perfect.
You're right. We should have.
Oh, guys.
Hot in the bag. Llama drama is also really good. Oh, Llama Mia. But what I don't see, I thought I submitted. Oh yeah. I thought I submitted something like slam your that curl into your shell or something. Didn't I have something like that?
Might have been censored.
Slam that curl into a sage.
Yeah, well, I don't see it on here.
It's in the second section.
Ah, second section. Oh yeah, okay. There it is. I don't like it. Now that I see it, I don't like it.
Sometimes you just gotta see it.
But it is what you're doing with all these.
So, gents, I can't actually upload my file to Drew because, that whole...
You can't do anything
issue
till you
I was having.
disconnect.
So I'm going to disconnect here and I'll be right back.
Okay, we miss you already. Bye, Brent.
Oh,
all right. Go get in that chat room, boat while Brent uploads. This is your official boat music. JupiterBroadcasting.com/matrix. Use something like the Element client if you're not in there yet. I'll give you a couple minutes. We got a nice. We more than doubled our amount of boosts over the weekend.
Yeah, wild.
That was surprising.
Mm-hmm. Just in the last couple days.
Yeah. You know what consistently surprises me about the boosts? If you would have asked me before we started this, I would have told you it's some of our biggest boosts would come from people, and they probably do. So it's probably not 100% this, but I would have said unequivocally, most of our biggest boosts are always going to come from people that listen day of because they're probably super excited about the show.
Right, ready to go, engaged, yeah.
It's clearly not the case because some of our bigger boosts filter in throughout the later end of the week pretty consistently. It's wild.
It's more time for folks on the weekend?
Yeah,
Catch up on their podcasts?
Peeps be busy. I do think that happens. How you doing over there, Brantley? Did you get it uploaded?
Yeah, it uploaded like 19 seconds or something.
You do have a great connection when you're not fighting.
I know. It's great until it's not.
See, I don't think it's you. I think it's the packet making it happen, or they're at the firewall of the network.
I wonder if you could check in. Hey, can I get the business version or the pro or the...
Is there a certain hawk strike I can use on it?
I wonder, how would you
Didn't we have access to that back in the... Remember the Linux Academy days? That Texas place? They had a special Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I don't know if all, but...
Some do have business Wi-Fi. That's true. I wonder how you would systematically determine if you're getting quality of service to hell. Like, I think I'd experiment with starting up other H.264 video streams somehow.
You should probably install that app that we didn't mention that was going to be the pick that didn't get picked. That'd probably help you at least see, like if you're running against a
talk about it?
No, you'll have to wait till next week.
Yeah.
It's efficient now.
Faster. Boy, they really went after their competitor, too. It was really something. You don't often see a project do that. All right, so have we voted? What do you think, boys? Do we see one we like in there?
I've not voted yet. I don't know what to vote.
Yeah.
I really like bacon on the mind.
Whipping up your own llamas Whipping up your own llamas is there. It's pretty high. Running uncensored AI on Linux is maybe the second runner-up. So we have running uncensored AI on Linux and whipping up your own llamas. Which would you be more likely to tap? Monday morning, you want to listen to some Linux content.
Can I hear them one more time?
Whipping up your own llamas and uncensored AI on Linux. Running uncensored AI on Linux.
What if it was just uncensored AI?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or just whipping your llama.
I think
that sounds cruel.
I think the one nice thing about whipping your own llama kind of implies that like you're running it on your own system. Whipping up. It's not whipping the llama, it's whipping up your own llamas. Plural.
Yeah, but whipping your llama, it's got a little bit more of that inside.
Yeah, I got you.
Jeff's an artist. Remember to respect him.
Sorry.
Not me.
I kind of think what we do is we take the other one and we chop it. We do a chop job. A Canadian chop job, and we just call it uncensored AI on Linux.
The old Canadian chop job.
The reason why, because I'm trying to think like what has the broadest appeal if you're kind of burnt out on the AI topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that title is boring.
Whoa.
It hurts.
Yeah, it isn't an inside joke. I think that is what it sort of has going against it. It's just not funny.
I like Wes's AI subcontracting.
Where was that?
AI subcontracting.
Hey, I want to take a moment here to celebrate something.
What is it, Brantley?
You willing? Are you?
It's a lot of trust.
Whipping Up Your Own Llamas is a great title. And it was submitted by Sir Lurks-a-Lot.
Yeah.
Who we haven't heard from in a long time.
He's hanging out there.
Get to meet a while ago.
He's in there right now with his fluffy chat. Yep.
I have been missing out. So hi. Hi, Sir
Hello,
Lurks.
Lurks. Nice to see you.
Indeed.
Don't lurk. Come say hi.
This title thing is really getting me, though, guys.
Do you want a new round?
I'm all for
Do you want a new round?
I don't know if we're going to get anything better. I think we just got to own one of these and modify it to our needs. I think we do a Canadian chop job on whichever one we go with. I think it really
could just call it Canadian chop job, really. Come on.
Is there a llama emoji?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
I love that Brent is excited by this idea. Brent, he just got the most awake I've seen him for the last hour.
Because it breaks things. I like breaking things.
And Wes is like, it's the holiday. There's a lot going on.
The draft did enough damage. Right?
This is tough. We may have to sideball. I don't know.
Mulligan. Cancel the episode.
We got a fresh homemade soup.
What?
Hidea and Abby made us a fresh homemade soup
incredible.
for. So that's for lunch today. So Saturday next week, and then we start recording like during the actual weekday.
Yeah, that'll be different.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot. I'm supposed to do a double coder tomorrow, and I just don't know about that.
Those are your favorite.
Yeah, I love doubles. Love doubles. I love the holidays. I just love it. I love spending all my money. I love working 4x for a lower download number in the holidays. I love that. I love then showing up at the holidays completely exhausted and drained and sort of resenting my family and everyone around me and the holidays and then general culture because of it. And the momentum in which we find ourselves having to participate in these cultural phenomena without ever stopping to say, hey, life has changed quite a bit since these were invented. Should we modify these to accommodate current and modern lifestyles? Don't do that. So, I just kind of think follow and inspire. It's fine. Yes, the double coder will be live, assuming I can come up with a double coder. But at least one of them will be live. Holidays are just tough for small business.
Can't just take it off.
No.
How do you feel about in the grocery store all the Christmas music?
You know, as I've gotten older, I don't mind it. When I was younger, it used to drive me crazy, especially before Thanksgiving.
I think I
It's
feel
because you now have tinnitus and you don't really hear it.
I feel lucky that a lot of it's sort of the older style. You know?
That I can tolerate a little bit more.
Mhm.
I don't know. As I've gotten older, I kind of lean. I even have like a classic Christmas playlist at home that I'll play sometimes. Not on by myself, but like when the family's there. I don't like listen to Christmas music on my own. Like I'm not there yet. I'm not like in the car listening to Christmas music. But you know, I can see myself. I feel like I'm early stage in the car Christmas music right now.
You just need some Gary Hoey.
Yeah, sure.
No, seriously, amazing guitarist doing Christmas tunes. It's actually really good.
You have to send us a link.
Oh man,
You know, the James Brown Christmas is maybe one of the only ones I would put on for myself.
Poor Lurks. His node died on him. Oh my god. I really, really don't want that to happen. Well, it's good to see. I think we should do scale lit. I think we do our scale coverage lit because it's here's my thinking. We really narrow the problem set. So we don't worry about video and how we're going to do cameras and how we're going to get the bandwidth to stream.
Yeah.
We just figure out how to stream to jblive.fm.
I like that.
And then we have people pick it up in a Podcasting 2.0 app using the Jupiter Station feed.
That sounds fun.
Right?
Yeah.
And then people could boost in to get their message for the live shows that we do and stuff. Like, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Oh, okay. You got links? You're coming with receipts here, Jeff.
Well, I've got the actual CD if you want to rip of that.
You know that we do.
I want Vic Fontaine to sing Christmas music.
Where's the AI that can generate that for us soon? Right?
There are some good ones. Jeff also has links for those.
Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I can see it. I know it's weird how I used to really resent the Christmas music, and now I just lean into it. I think where it started to slide for me was it gets so dark here for so long. Like, oh man, you should, if you ever look at those charts, like I have one on my watch actually, it's really depressing. I should really take it off. Those charts that show you like the sunrise of the day, like the arc of the sun above and below the horizon. Ours is just this little pathetic. We basically are entering a period of time where we get 6.5-ish hours of daylight, and that daylight's about 40% because it's all behind gray clouds. And so I started really liking all of the lights. I started really appreciating all of the towns putting up the holiday lights, and
for sure,
because it just adds a little bit more light to the area. And I thought, well, that's kind of nice. And
there's a lot more night. You might as well make it friendly,
right? And I think that was the slippery slope into liking Christmas music. I don't know for sure, but I think it was. All right. Well, do we want to? I'm going to pick one of those songs to play out the members, Jeff. I'm going to pick one of them. I don't know which one. We wouldn't block that, so you could do that. Just do it in your web browser. But it's kind of more fun to do it in the app, right? If we make a whole thing about it. All right. I think we're going to have to reconnoiter these titles off air. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Whipping Up Your Own Llamas is pretty good.
Sacred ceremony we could perform.
I kind of do like Whipping Up Your Own Llamas. It's either that or Uncensored AI on Linux. I'm trying to think which one would be more tappable. Which one's got the best tappability?
What does the AI think?
Which one synergizes with the tappability? Yeah, you could ask. Maybe we'll let it decide. Didn't they supposedly just upgrade Bard to some of that Gemini technology? I don't notice any difference.
I tried to get it to make some tags for us.
Oh, Bard sucks at that.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Yeah. No, I know.
With all of the AI stuff you guys are playing with, are you doing it on that server by any chance?
Because I wasn't here, no. I was doing it on a Linode that I have from home. I did all the way from here. But you know what? I tell you what. We didn't get to it, but there's a Nixified AI project that looks really great, and I could see definitely pulling in some of that onto that box if we were to stick with this. I don't know how to do this yet, but I'm kind of drifting towards this. Is what I want is I want to like whisper OCR or transcribe, I guess is the term I'm looking for, speech to text, the last 4 or 5 years of JB.
Mm-hmm.
Get this huge amount of transcriptions. Then I want to feed that, and I know I've talked about this before, I want to feed that into like whichever large language model seems like the most appropriate, and get ourselves a topic expert on, and then I want to be able to interrogate it about what we've covered and what we said about what. And
I like this idea.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think that kind of experimentation is going to happen on that server.
Well, when Wes gets that figured out, he can send me the next config.
Nice. Good thinking. All right, Mumble Room, thank you guys. Really appreciate you. If we don't see you on Saturday, thanks for hanging out with the last regular show. We'll be back on the 7th in our regular time. All right. The quiet listening kind of whittled down over time.
They're busy.
They do that. Yeah.
They got a whole
life.
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
I know you hate to hear this, but probably other podcasts.
Oh, I doubt that. But I do recognize they have their own life. That's weird to me.
They're probably trying to get started on the 32-bit install.
Probably, yeah.
Because
that's what I'm doing.
Good. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later. Have a good rest of your day. Appreciate you. And thank you, chat room. Thank you, anybody that's watching live as well. We're going to shut down the commercial streams first. We'll say goodbye over there on the commercial side. And then I'm going to pick one of these songs from this playlist that Jeff sent me for our members, and we'll play that out and say goodbye one more time. Thank you, everybody, though, that it is watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. You're always welcome to catch the full thing by becoming a member. You can do that at unpluggedcore.com, which I realize I didn't mention in the show today at all, or jupiter.party. Thank you. Hope to see you on Saturday. Levi, did you hear that? He was silent the entire time, and then as soon as I go to get his play us out,
there's a Levi there?
Oh yeah, he's been totally laying there on the seat, totally quiet the entire time.
Big stretch.
All right, goodbye, commercial streams. We like you, even if you are commercial. We still like you.